been working on it, trust me. Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, Commissioners. Today is March 10th, 2016. This is the Board of Liquor License Commissioners for the City of Baltimore. I know that that Commissioner Hayfie, I think, was going to say a few words before I start the regular docket.
Yes, for those of you who do not know, Judge Ward passed away on Sunday, March 6th. As I'm sure you are aware, Judge Ward was a previous chairman to the Liquor Board from 2014 to 2015. And I just wanted to say a few words in his honor. I did not have the honor of meeting him, unfortunately, but I've heard wonderful things about him. I know that he was a mentor to Michelle, and I've heard that he was a great teacher and just a great guy, a great person. In reviewing his bio and the obituary in the Baltimore Sun, or an article in the Baltimore Sun, I didn't realize just how expansive his public service was. And I must tell you, it was very inspirational to see what he has done for Baltimore City and what he has done for the residents of Baltimore City. He, as I'm sure you know, he served as a judge for nearly 15 years. He also served as a council member in the mid-1960s. It's very clear to me that he dedicated his life and career to public service, which I think is something that we can all aspire to. And with that, I wanted to say those few words, and we can begin the docket now.
Thank you, Commissioner Hayfie. The first item on the docket is Samuel Carreri and Jerry Waddell, Swain Hiltner, and this is Sam's Italian Restaurant, LLC. Trade name is Sam's Trattoria at 1200-02 North Charles Street. It's a Class B, beer, wine, and liquor. It's an application for expansion to add 800 square feet next to the restaurant. Mr. Kadensky?
For the record, Melvin J. Kadensky, 19 East Fayette Street, representing the applicant. This is a current applicant, a current licensee. They're asking for expansion of about 800 square feet for private parties, overflow. The drawings are there. It's probably would seat 40 or 50 people. We have a letter of, the Mount Vernon Belvedere representative is here. They're in favor. I also have a petition signed by some of their
Thank you.
Customers, the people that come in. They've been there about 10 years on that corner. Never had any problem. Strictly a restaurant. And I don't know if you want to say anything from Mount Vernon Belvedere. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, you'll have to get sworn in, please. Just him, because he's proffered for the applicant.
Raise your right hand, please.
Sure.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Give your name, please, so he can,
Eric Evans.
thank you. Mr. Evans,
And your position with you're here on behalf of Mount Vernon Belvedere.
Yes, I'm the chairman of the Liquor Committee for the Mount Vernon Belvedere Committee.
Mr. Koninsky, you can lead the witness.
Yeah, and you know this location, and you're familiar with Sammy's and what they want to do with regard to the expansion, and the Mount Vernon Belvedere Association has no problems with that. Is that correct?
Correct.
I'm curious, did they take a vote? The association take a vote?
We did not. We met with Sam, and he explained exactly what he was doing, and we brought it before our board, and there were no objections. We didn't take a formal vote on it.
Okay.
This is expansion to the second floor?
Well,
This drawing, where is this in relationship to the bar now?
it's across from it. It's in the next building over.
So they're expanding
Horizontally,
east to west?
not vertically. Well, they're on the corner, so they're going north.
Okay.
You just
If you're facing the entrance, it's to the right.
If you're gonna testify, you have to get sworn in, I'm sorry.
Well, facing the entrance, you're going north.
Okay.
Yeah. Getting closer to UB or BU, depends how you say it up there. Harvard to the south.
Thank you. That's yours, yeah.
That's this.
Thank you.
And there's another applicant, or there's an applicant who has another license or is on
Yeah,
another license.
He's applying for a license down in Fells Point. And the same is in Fells Point.
This is a Class B.
Be a second license for him.
And how many will this seat?
About 40, 44, and in that
It's a
space.
party room, basically?
Well, overflow. Party is probably a stretch, but I guess depends how happy you are.
Okay.
Well,
Well, it's a gathering.
but to be honest with you, or dishonest, it depends what side of it you're on. You know that Justinians meet there. Does anybody know who the Justinians are?
Yeah, they're lawyers.
Right, and judges of Italian descent,
Right.
or supposedly
Used to be
Italian
the
descent.
Cosmopolitan in Fells Point.
Correctamundo.
Great, thank you.
Most
So,
people don't know that the secret handshake of the Justinians.
Chairman, for the record, Exhibit 1 would be the petition. Is that correct?
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That's fine.
That meets the requirements under Article 2B, Section 10202, and I'm a yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks for coming down, okay?
Thank you for coming down, sir.
Thank you.
It's the next one.
The next one is Giuseppe Greco and Jeffrey Keeney. That's KGJJ LLC. Trade name pending. That's 2 East Wells Street. That's a Class B, beer, wine, and liquor. An application for a new Class B, beer, wine, and liquor under the restaurant's license under Article 2B, Section 6201D7. $500,000 in capital investment in restaurant fixtures, facilities, and a seating capacity of a minimum of 75 people. Just for the record, I do have a letter of support from South Baltimore Neighborhood Association that I will also pass out to the board.
Counsel?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. Caroline Hecker, Rosenberg, Martin, Greenberg, on behalf of the applicant. I'm joined by my colleague, Justin Williams, as well as the 2 individual licensee applicants who are here to my right, Mr. Giuseppe Greco and Mr. Jeffrey Keeney. Mr. Greco is our Baltimore City resident applicant. As Ms. Bailey Hedgepeth mentioned, the requirements for the new Class B license are a seating capacity of 75 seats, a capital investment of $500,000, and average daily receipts from the sale of food exceeding 51% of our total average daily receipts. The licensed premises here is 2 East Wells Street. It's a first-floor space in an apartment building that was constructed within the last couple of years at the very end of Light Street, down at the bottom of South Baltimore. I've included in the file that Mr. Williams handed out an exterior photo of the building, as well as the BMZA authorization for the project, and a letter from the zoning administrator confirming that the restaurant use is permitted here. It is an R8 zone, but because it is an apartment building, it is allowed to have a restaurant use as an accessory use there. The restaurant that's proposed is going to be called At Light's End, which is a reference to its location at the end of Light Street. Our 2 licensee applicants are both veterans of the restaurant industry. They have been involved with Crazy Lil's in Federal Hill, as well as Della Notte, Vaqueros, Liberatories, Harriman House, and Tark's Grill. They intend to create a culinary-driven establishment that will provide reasonably priced food, American-type cuisine, ranging from $12 to $24. They'll offer fresh local ingredients, as well as an upscale craft beer menu and a diverse cocktail menu. There are copies of their menu in the file that I've handed out, as well as a floor plan showing the proposed layout of the restaurant. It has 129 indoor seats. You'll also see in the file there's a capital investment breakdown showing a capital investment of $696,000, excluding the costs of the building, the land, and the exterior improvements. And as Ms. Bailey Hedgepeth mentioned, there is also a letter of support in the file from the South Baltimore Neighborhood Association, which includes a memorandum of understanding, which we've entered into in support of the application. I've also included in the file photocopies of a petition, and I have the originals here for you. There are 115 signatures of residents located in the immediate vicinity, mainly residents of 2 East Wells Street and the building across the street, 1901 South Charles Street, all in support of the application. As I mentioned, the requirements for the license are a seating capacity of 75 seats. There are 129 seats shown in the floor plan. There's no outside seating proposed. There's also no live entertainment that's proposed in this application. We meet the capital investment requirement of $500,000. As I said, the capital investment breakdown shows a $696,000 capital investment. And based on Mr. Keeney and Mr. Greco's experience in running restaurants over the course of their careers, they don't anticipate having any difficulty meeting the 51% food requirement. Mr. Keeney and Mr. Greco together own 75% of the membership interests of KGJJ LLC, which is the licensed entity. The remaining 25% interest is owned by an investor entity, which is controlled by the landlord of the building. So the landlord does have an interest in the restaurant. As I mentioned, Mr. Greco is our Baltimore City resident. He's been in the Baltimore City for nearly his entire life. As I said, the two licensees have grown up in the restaurant business. They are familiar with the rules and regulations of the liquor board and agree to abide by them. In terms of the public need and desire for the license, as I said, there are 115 signatures on the petitions that have been submitted, demonstrating a significant need and desire for the license by residents of the local community, as well as the memorandum of understanding and letter of support from the South Baltimore Neighborhood Association. There are not a lot of other restaurants down at the bottom of South Baltimore in this area, so it's not likely to have any impact really on any other licensees. And in that vein, it does provide a uniqueness of services because there really aren't a whole lot of other options down that way. We don't anticipate that there will be any negative impacts to general health, safety, and welfare in the community. One of the things the community found to be very supportive in this application was the fact that it is in the first floor of an apartment building. The landlord controls the building. The landlord is a member of the LLC that controls the license. The landlord has every incentive to make sure that this is not a rowdy establishment. They want to preserve the quiet enjoyment of their tenants in the apartment building above. And so in light of the tremendous community support for the license, we do respectfully request that the board approve the issuance of a new Class B license. I would request also that the board admit the file of exhibits as collectively as applicant's Exhibit 1. We're happy to answer any questions the board might have.
Counsel, I got to tell you that I think you've done an excellent job when covering the elements under Article 2B, Section 10202A2.
Thank you.
You've gone through every one. You've got a good attorney. Very good attorney. The MOU that has been signed, this is what we're talking about. This is going to be attached to the license as a part of the license requirement?
Yes,
Yes?
sir.
Okay, if you can pass that over, please. Questions from the commissioners?
Did you say that they had taken the course, the alcohol awareness course?
They've taken it in the past. They'll certainly make sure that they're current on it when the license is issued. They are current on it now, I'm told.
And when you say that they have a long history in the restaurant business,
I think collectively they have 40 or 50 years of restaurant experience.
are we talking about restaurants here? Oh, I see. I see it there.
Delanote, Crazy Lil's, Tarks, most recently, Mr. Keeney was the executive chef at Tarks. Yes, they have extensive restaurant experience.
Who's the landlord?
It's a Chesapeake Realty Partners entity.
It's a firm,
It's a real estate development firm, yes.
and that's the landlord, and that's who's on the license.
They control the Bourbon Grill CRP MF LLC that owns 25% of the license.
Okay, and that's how they're financing it?
That in a combination of loans, traditional loans.
Who's got rights to the license? That's what I want to know.
Mr. Kinney and Mr. Greco are they're the individual
Yeah, but
licensees.
if it fails, who owns the license? Let's say it goes bankrupt.
Are you asking, does the landlord would they have a lien on the license? I imagine that they do as part of, I'm told, yes, they do as part of their
Okay, and that's Chesapeake?
yes.
Okay, that's fine. No, that's it.
Is it this building?
It's both buildings, actually. It's all one project. The architecture was designed to make it look like not one massive building.
Oh, okay. And would the restaurant, which part of the building would the restaurant be in?
That whole thing.
It runs
The
all
whole,
across
oh,
yeah.
I see.
Sorry. If you speak, they have to swear you in. There's one other retail space coming in the restaurant. It hasn't been publicly identified yet, or not in the restaurant, excuse me, in the building. It, I think, is probably going to be a breakfast-type restaurant. But they'll have the larger commercial space on the first floor.
End of Light Street. All right with me?
Yes?
It seems to meet the requirements under Article 2B, so I am a yes.
I'm a yes. All three yeses. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Job well done, council. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, Herb's, yeah, she's back there too. Thanks, Ryan. Okay, Ryan Moore and Desiree Harris and Tisgeta Tavera, and that's TDH LLC, trade name pending at 318 Park Avenue, a Class A, beer, wine, and liquor, an application for transfer of ownership.
Council?
Good afternoon. Herbert Burgonder on behalf of the three applicants here. Ryan Moore is to the far right. Ryan, raise your hand. Say hello. And Sigfay Tafara here as well, and D. Harris are the three applicants who are applying. This is for a transfer of a liquor license, a long-standing liquor license at 318 Park Avenue. It is for a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license. It's a liquor store, and it's been owned, we believe, for maybe close to 30 years by the current applicant. So it's a long-standing application for transfer of a long-standing license, an existing license at 318 Park Avenue. If you recall, 318 Park Avenue is sort of a neighborhood in a little bit of transition at this point. Historically, it was the old sort of Chinatown neighborhood, in that there, if you look at the architecture on some of the buildings, there are remnants of a former past as sort of Chinese restaurants and such, although that neighborhood has changed. There are actually several Ethiopian establishments, and Mr. Harris is of Ethiopian descent, and he is excited about the opportunity, along with his partners, to open up this liquor store and revitalize it. It was before the current owner was the owner of it. It was a liquor store as well, so it's been long established for maybe up to 50 years. The applicant is, there are not too many liquor stores in the area. Like I said, the area is in transition. There are some new housing developments nearby that would support reinvestment in this property. The current owner is really ready to retire and has sort of seen his better days. He's not open consistently during each day. He is not stocking it to its fullest and has not invested money in the operation or upkeep of the premises. And these applicants intend to make those renovations and to clean up the place and to make it a full-service liquor store to serve the needs of the new residents coming to the community. The former Heck Company building, warehouse up the street, is being renovated, as well as some properties that back up to this property on Howard Street are being renovated, and new residents are moving in. And my clients believe that this is an opportunity to reinvigorate and add a benefit to the neighborhood that can be enjoyed by all. There are, like I said, very few other restaurants located, liquor establishments located in the neighborhood. I did take the opportunity to go to Google Maps and look for liquor stores. And there's, Baltimore is a bit of an unusual place in that you walk 2 blocks and potentially you're in another neighborhood. But you'll see on there aren't really any liquor establishments, liquor stores within any close proximity to this. This is a long established business, and it doesn't present any problem with commonality with other products are served by other applicants in the same business line, that there'll be no impact at all on the general welfare, except for the fact that I think a positive impact to the extent that we'll have full-time eyes on the street, to the extent that the business will be open during regular business hours, reinvigorated and also renovated so as to meet sort of common standards with technology, with stock in the liquor that it sells. That the license is necessary for the accommodation of the public, and that the applicants are fit and proper people to hold the license. Mr. Moore is a longtime 22-year resident of Baltimore City. Mr. Harris is a former resident of Baltimore City, but a longtime property owner in Baltimore City as well. He has a background in business management and finance, and I think will bring a real invigorated and up-to-date modern approach to running a liquor store in Baltimore City.
Another lawyer who reads the law, Article 2B, Section 110, Section 10, 202A2, appears that, to me, that you've met all the requirements, but I do have a question or two.
Sure.
Madam Secretary, I see a letter from Jeffrey Veal, zoning administrator. It says it is in a B42 district, which, no violations, which is permitted use.
Right.
So I would like that to be included as part of the record. And probably Mr. Trotter has some questions about the 44, 44, and 10.
Yeah, well, I have more than that. How, you're purchasing the property?
Yes, as well, my clients are purchasing the property through a different limited liability company, so it'll be held separate from the license.
Who owns that limited liability company?
Limited liability company is going to be owned by Mr. Harris and his wife.
There'll be one owner of that limited liability company will have so you have a license and you have a company that has part of the license. Is that correct?
No, so the
You have a
license-
secured interest in the license, don't you?
Yes, but the licensees are individual members of the entity that own the license, and then a separate entity is going to own the real estate. Because of the rental apartments, we didn't want to have the two entities own the same thing for liability purposes.
Okay, so you have two entities.
Yes,
There is no tie between the property and the license?
correct. It's
None.
going to be a lease.
It's a lease?
Yes.
What happens when they forfeit on the lease? Let's say it goes bankrupt.
Then we'll have, then the owner of the real estate would have to apply for as a secured creditor.
Is she a secure creditor now?
We have not closed on the purchase of it, but at the time of closing, yes,
You will be a secure creditor on the lease.
correct.
Okay. And where's the money coming from?
They're financing through private financing.
Banks?
No, through
Investment firms?
no, through an associate of Mr. Harris is putting a private financing. It'll be secured with deeds of trust and a promissory note.
A hard money lender.
If the person were in the business of periodically lending money, but that's not the case. This isn't a
Okay.
one-time.
All right, okay, just asking.
Has that been identified to the commission?
It has not been formalized yet, but that is the plan. Closing is supposed to take place after this, and obviously.
Yeah, but you have to have the money in place.
That is true.
Okay, so we would,
I will be happy to identify that when the time. as
I
soon
want
as
the
we-
time, we're gonna give you a license.
Sure.
Okay,
But
so
prior to the
I wanna
issuance
know,
of-
I wanna
prior
know
to-
who the,
I will identify that lender prior to the issuance of a license.
how do we know this isn't somebody that we don't want in the city of Baltimore?
The lender's not going to be a licensee or have an interest in
The lender has a secured interest in the organization, has to have,
in the real estate, but not in the license.
and the real estate has a secure interest in,
That is true.
all right?
That is true.
So the lender has the capability of controlling the license.
Assuming, yes, a failure of both the liquor establishment and the real estate, I would say yes.
No, as soon as the liquor establishment fails, he would have control.
That isn't how we were going to set it up. It was going to be secured by the real estate principally.
Okay. I would like to see that before we,
I can provide Mr. Berngarder a copy of the new financial form, and he can provide that to me, and I can give that to you.
if that's approved by us now, just,
If you make it a contingency to.
I can make it a contingency.
Has there been any contact with the community?
Yes, Mr. Harris did introduce himself to the neighbors, some of whom are Ethiopian establishments as well. And there haven't, to my knowledge, been any complaints about the operation of the current business. And I think his plan to invest some money in fixing it up will be a welcome addition to the neighborhood.
Do they know what kind of renovations they plan to do to the establishment?
The renovations that they intend to do would be to invest in fixing up the facility. The building has not been paid attention to in a long time in both the apartment aspect of it and in the establishment. So yes, we're looking to do some investing into the storefront itself, clean it up, remove the old appliances. There was an old deli there at some point with some old appliances, redo the floor, redo the entryway and such to make it more pleasing and palatable to the neighborhood in transition.
What is the apartment in the back? Is that part of the liquor store?
No, it is not. That's just to show that there is another use there on the first floor. The entrance is on the side of the back.
Of that apartment? So the storage and the open storage area
Yes.
and the service window and
Those are stairs going up. So part of the first floor.
so
is
basically
not-
you have a area that you can come in and buy a liquor.
Yes,
It's serviced through the window.
that is true at this time.
Can you get into the store and look at wines and that type of stuff, or is it
Not
just?
at this time, but I believe that would be the idea.
Okay,
Is it open now? Do we know?
not open. No, would it? It's not an open area.
It is not an open area.
Is the establishment open right now?
Oh, yes,
It's
absolutely.
operating? Okay.
Yes.
Madam Secretary, do we have a violation history on it?
Attached to the docket is a copy of the license history. From looking at the license history, there haven't been any recent violations since pre-2000 on this establishment. So,
And do your clients intend to participate in the alcohol awareness program, or have they done so?
They have not, but they will.
And assuming everything turns out well, when are they intending to do these renovations, and how quickly will it open?
So the store is going to remain open, and there'll be a transition period. Closing is supposed to be in 2 or 3 weeks. And as soon as that happens, they would take over the establishment, but it's going to remain open between that period of time, and the renovations would take place within the first few months. They'll begin immediately to do them, but completed within the first few months of ownership. I think it'll be a welcome sprucing up of really an age-old establishment. There's actually an old mosaic on the front, if you recall. Sometimes the old stores would do the old mosaics, and there was an old mosaic from the prior owner to this owner, and we intend to, as best we can, try to reestablish it as this building was maybe known maybe 30 or 40 years ago.
And I believe it's 45, 45, 10. So.
It's okay with me if we get the finances.
Madam Secretary, is all the paperwork in order for the application to be complete, other than the question that Mr. Trotter has about the financials?
yes, sir. To the information that staff has reviewed, this seems to be in order, and we will get the information on the finances as requested by the board.
Because there has been some discussion in the past about applications not being complete, but based on the testimony of counsel or the proffer of counsel and the subsequent questions from Mr. Trotter, there is a caveat that the license will not be issued until until the office gets the financials and we approve it, okay?
Okay.
So subject to that caveat, you have 3 yeses.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm formally a yes.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
next one.
Charles Village.
Yeah, thank you. Day one, pass it down. I'll get the next one. Okay. Bivra Patel, David Key, Christine Hearn, Boz Burgers, LLC. Trade name is Boz Burgers at 3101 St. Paul Street. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor, a transfer of ownership, and a continuing of outdoor table service. I did want to note for the record that I received actually two pieces of information. One is a letter and an MOU from the Charles Village Civic Association, and another is a letter from a citizen in regards to smoking. I'm going to pass those both down. Those were both received after the posting of this document. Any of the original copy? Thank you.
I'm going over on the,
Oh,
Can't stand it on the dark side, huh?
not if
Okay.
you're the only one there.
Mr. Kudensky.
Yes, sir.
I'm assuming, I could be wrong, that these folks are here to testify against the application.
No, 4.
Yeah, well, he
Yeah.
won't let us stand over there.
No, I said you could stand on the dark side, but she,
But I said not if he was the only one there.
Okay, so what we're going to do, just to make your life easier, is we're going to swear in all the witnesses, let Mr. Kudensky make his proffer, and then whatever they have to say, they'll identify themselves, and then you can write that down. How's that work?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Raise your right hands, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, Mr. Kudensky.
for the record, Melvin J. Kudensky representing the applicants. This is an application for a transfer existing license. Some people may be familiar with, was Donna's, was there as a restaurant. They have since left. The current applicants were actually on that same block down a little further. They're moving up to this location. They've been in this location probably the last 5 or 6 months operating as a restaurant. The 3 applicants will, I've got them lined up to take the alcohol awareness course and familiarize themselves with the rules and regulations of the liquor board.
Identify us. Are the 3 applicants here?
Right here, the 3 are in front of you here.
2, 3. Okay.
And they met with the community, and there's a letter from the community along with an MOU, which they would agree to be part of the license transfer. I'll let the community and the councilman give their particular testimony. It's a place that probably does maybe 20% alcohol. It's more there as a convenience for, the people that are coming in to sit down. It has outdoor table service, already been pre-approved. There was an ordinance. I can give you the ordinance number if you want it. It's ordinance number 35 from 1996. I didn't see one that early. That's an early ordinance number. They want to continue what's there. They understand they can only serve alcohol at the outside table service if they have a food. They just can't sit out there and drink, And I think the MOU covers that too. Do you want to state your name and address?
Yes, whoever's going to go next.
You want to,
Yeah, go.
might want to pull that down if the director gets excited.
Sandy Sparks, President of the Charles Village Civic Association. We negotiated an MOU to replace the MOU agreement that we had with Donna's. And Boz's Burgers is going to continue the same hours that Donna's had, closing at midnight Sunday through Thursday, and at 1 p.m. on Friday and Saturday. AM, sorry. We also have included details about maintenance and lighting and all of that. The outdoor seating is nicely contained under an awning. The outdoor seating and the awning came about in 1996 thanks to the creation of the North Charles Village PUD, which allowed outdoor seating in the whole area. And Donna's was actually the second applicant under that. So we're pleased that there's continued restaurant at that site, and that it is limited. It is limited so that the restaurant is the largest part of the service, not the liquor.
And just for the record, this is what we're talking about, the MOU. That's been signed by you on behalf of the organization and by the licensees,
Yes.
correct? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that's going to be introduced as an exhibit, and this will become part of the license. Now, let me ask you a question, Ms. Sparks. What about this letter from Ms. Cook? Have you seen this?
No.
She says she doesn't care for the smoking in the outdoor seating area.
I have no idea.
Yeah, that was just someone who sent that into the office, and it was part of the file.
Okay.
We have, we, in the process of creating this MOU, and by the way, it was created rather quickly, the fastest that I've been a part of. We contacted the immediate neighbors. It's a very well-established part of Charles Village. And so there was great concern that the quality of service and patrons continue, that it not become a nuisance because it is on 31st, faces 31st Street, which is fully residential. So, and the smoking, well, that is a part of maintenance. That is, a problem everywhere, but.
All right, Councilwoman Clark?
Second the motion. Basically, I'm in support of this transfer, this move, and I've been over the MOU. I think it's fine. These are local merchants. We know them. They run good businesses, and we're glad to see them staying in the neighborhood, getting into bigger surroundings. And so it's good. Don't get used to this, but love it.
Okay.
That's twice in 2 months.
I know, but
Twice in 2 months.
that's okay.
On the dark side.
The dark side
You know,
will be
Easter-
back.
Easter's coming.
Okay.
We have just have one, you want to get up here and state your name and address for the record, please?
I'm David Key, 13 Lockmore Court, Lutherville, Maryland.
And let me ask you a question just for the record, can I just see a second? Mr.
Which one?
The agreement.
The MOU.
You're familiar with this letter and this agreement, and you participated in it, is that correct?
Yes.
And you agreed to be bound by the terms and conditions of this as being part of the license transfer, is that correct?
Yes, yes.
And you did this freely and voluntarily, and you, just for the record, you had been in business in that area for how long?
Bosie's has been open for 6 months.
All right, and prior to that, were you at a different location, same location?
Bosie's was a new business then.
Okay. And so you know the neighborhood and you're familiar with the neighborhood is looking for, and that's the reason why you entered this
Yes,
agreement?
I own a number of coffee shops at Johns Hopkins, so I've been in the neighborhood for many years.
Okay.
Okay. Elizabeth? Ms. Hafey?
Who is, it looks like Miss Christine Hearn has no interest in it.
I don't think that. Christine is my Polish contingent here. Well, we'll amend to give her, a pecuniary interest. I thought we had done that, but maybe not. Okay.
No, it wasn't
No,
done.
We'll do it. Make that a condition.
So it's, right now, it's 1733, 1733.
Somebody will lose 1%.
Well, can you tell us who, please?
One of the Patels will take
Which
Half a percent or each?
the number 4.
Number 4. Okay. So they'll be at 16.
That'd be 32.
No,
No.
32 and then 1.
Oh, 17. Oh, I'm sorry. 32.
32 is which Patel?
Number 4.
Number 4.
And she will get,
And this is a purchase of the business?
Well, it really, they were leaving, they were buying the equipment and the license, that's all they're buying. Donna's was gonna leave.
So they're buying this license?
Yeah, and they're buying whatever was left of the
Do
equipment.
they already have a liquor license? Are they transferring?
Yeah, it's a transfer of an existing license.
No, they don't have one.
No, the one that's there, Donna's.
Donna's,
Donna
they're
has
buying
Yeah.
Donna's.
one at a time. He's going to say one at a time. because he's recording and it just muddles up
We're
his
used
tape.
to it.
Okay.
So they're down the street, in the middle of the street. They're moving up to Donna's old establishment.
Correct.
And they're getting a wine and
Beer, wine, liquor.
beer, wine, and liquor license.
And they're buying, along with that, the license, and there's some miscellaneous tables and chairs and, some fryers and things that are in there, because Donna's was leaving. So they saw an opportunity to move down there and get a license, and they met with the
They bought
community.
this from Donna.
Yeah,
Okay. And they're buying the license from Donna.
correct.
Okay. So they don't have to get they're not getting a new license. It's
No.
the same.
Same one that's there.
Same one that's there. Okay. Good deal. You're gonna renovate the place, or gonna?
They're open now.
I know.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
Are you gonna modernize Donna's?
We'll clean it.
They're gonna
Gotta clean it.
We'll clean
Needs
it.
a good cleaning. It really does.
Yeah.
Got a lot of coffee there. Okay. It's okay with me.
It's a yes.
I am conditionally yes, this application needs to be amended
For the 1%, I won't
for
miss.
the 1%.
I understand that.
I'm a yes, with the 1%. Have a good day, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I got more than $25,000 worth of equipment in that place.
Carol Smith.
What's the next one?
Yeah, Carol Smith. It's Carol Smith and Carrie Everett, 4200 Parkside, Bel Air, Inc. Trade name is Slim Ace of Clubs at 4200 Bel Air. This would be moving to a BD7 application for transfer ownership to convert a Class B BW liquor to a BD7, and also to continue with the live entertainment and on the existing license.
Mr. Kudensky, is this going to be a proffer, or do we need to take testimony?
Well, I'm going to proffer as much as I can. I'm sure maybe somebody may have a question. We just give you what I can have, and then maybe later on, if you need to swear anybody else. But Melvin J. Kudensky, representing the applicants in this case, this is an application, a transfer of an existing license from Miss Marion Wilson, is the surviving spouse of I always call him Slim, Oliver Wilson, who had passed away. I actually did the transfer back in 2003 or 2004, and the seller was then represented by Steve Wyman, who's now district court judge. And we had applied and filed, and actually I have the original application here where it says LBD7 because it's an OB that pre-exists 1965. However, at the time, they found that it was just a B, and there was a question of making the license a BD7. Back in December 1st, 2004, I then talked with the Assistant Executive Secretary Jane Schroeder, indicate this license would qualify under the statute to be changed to a BD7. That section of the code it refers to is 8203D of the annotated code. It's not where you think you'd find it, but that's where it is, 8203D. And the board in the past has converted numerous licenses over my 46 years I've been doing this. He did one on Alexander Street just recently, 1010, and he did one the year before that I had, I'm pretty sure. Along with that, Ms. Wilson wants to sell the remaining asset that she has, then go back to the Carolinas with her children. The applicants here have Mr. Smith had been a customer there since '04. He was a past commander of VFW, both in the social committee and as a commander. He's familiar with operating, with the rules and regulations of the board and liquor license. He's been a customer there since '03, '04, whenever Mr. Wilson got it. Miss Everett is a retired police officer. She's also familiar with the area. They have met with the people in the community, and you have a letter from Harbell there. Ms. Executive Secretary, I don't know whether you guys have it. I got extra
There's
ones.
a copy of the Harbell letter. Where is it? They have no objection.
Yeah, I got some
Thank you.
extra ones here.
You can provide it.
In addition to that, they have talked to the people in the neighborhood. I don't know if you're familiar where this is, but on the side, it's on Parkside, and the other side is a park, and then they're on the corner. They talked to the people in the general neighborhood, and there's probably maybe 75 names on the petitions here that I would submit in favor of the transfer and the conversion to a BD7. I'll submit this as our, I don't know, are you making them exhibits? B,
Yes.
1, 2, I don't,
That's fine, 1 and 2.
on it.
Exhibit 1 would be the letter, Exhibit 2 is the petition.
The existing license itself has live entertainment on it. They don't plan on doing anything more than maybe karaoke or a DJ on the weekends. Their clientele is, and I hate to say elderly because I'm elderly. I think I'm older than he is. You might find that hard to believe. But, you know, and I don't sing, at least not voluntarily. And that's what they want to have, something there for the weekends to have people come in. The reason why they want to change from a B to BD7, there's not any food. They can't do any food. And I talked to Ms. Wilson. She said in the last 4, 5, 6 years, when Mr. Wilson, they just didn't have any food component. They may later on decide to have a little food, but right now they're saying it's no sense. And the contract's contingent upon that, you know, to being able to be the change.
Mind giving me let me see that 8203D that you cited.
And is there a specific subsection?
D.
Yeah, let
well,
me see it.
Under D?
I underlined it.
It's under D right now.
Where is it?
He's talking about 8.
I have a question. Does a community, based on this letter, it's not clear to me, does a community understand that it's not currently a Class BD7, but that it's a Class B?
Oh,
And
that-
are they willing to, or in agreement, or not opposing a reclassification of a Class B to a Class BD7? Because the letter doesn't suggest
No,
that.
it just refers to BD7. If you see the caption, if that's something that concerns you, we could probably get a letter saying that they are aware that it's going from a B to a BD7.
And Commissioner, the original objection or original letter that was an issue was the fact that they thought that live entertainment was being added and that there was a new, but what the issue is that since the live entertainment is existing and that they're continuing with the same live entertainment, that was more of the issue than the class of the license from the previous letter.
And I believe you mentioned that the recent transfer on Alisana, I think that the facts of that are a little bit different than the facts of this one.
Well, I don't say that they're not exactly the same, because no two cases are exactly the same. It was a B, then went to a BD7, went back to a B. So it was originally a B, they made it a BD7, and then I didn't do the case, but I was here when it happened. You want them to go back to a B. The reason why they had to go back to a B was that they had multiple locations, which you can't do with a BD7. You can only you can have multiple Bs, but not multiple BD7s.
Right. Well, right. In that case, it was at one point a BD7. This is something entirely different.
Started as a B. It was a pre-65B, which qualified. They made it a BD7, and they went back to the B. But, you know, I can guarantee over the 46 years, I've probably done 15 of myself from Bs to BD7s.
Okay. But my point is the facts of that case are different. It was previously a BD7, then went to a B, then went back to a BD7. This is something entirely different. We're talking
It was
about
B, BD7, back to B. Yeah. Went back to a B, which originally was before they made the BD7. Okay.
right.
Which is usually you don't see that you know, that's, you know, like the 2-4 if reverse at the racetrack.
I'm confused. This one was a D, converted to a B,
B
and now
to a BD7.
they want to convert it to a BD7 because it was a B prior to
67.
and the law you cited allows them to do
To
that,
request it.
to request it.
And it's been routinely granted by the prior boards.
And it gives the board the discretion to allow that conversion.
Correct. And then you have to give a reasoning, and the reasoning is that they just can't do the food there. And then, instead of trying to be a B where you're not doing the food, a BD7 would suffice. And then they met, and if you need a letter from Harbell, I'm sure they'll send a letter saying they understand what the request was from B to BD7.
What is the current food requirement for their district?
No, it's not district, it's time of issuance of license. I'm talking with the executive secretary, the current is 40%. However, in some of the older licenses, they would have written on them must do 33 1/3%, but this one doesn't have this, well, how much it is. But I would think since it goes back further in time, it probably would be 33 1/3%, but I'm not sure.
So you're saying you're representing that they would be unable to make that requirement?
That's correct.
Meet that requirement?
Miss Wilson's here. She can tell you she's operated with her husband for 10 years. He says they can't do that. That's what was going down. He got cancer, and that's it. So she said there's just no way we can meet it. Just people aren't coming in for them to meet the food requirement. They have a lottery there, and they have basically a local bar.
So, just so I get the picture here, if we kept it as a B, they'd be in violation.
Correct.
Okay. So.
And then it would kill the contract.
And it would kill the contract. I understand that. But if we kept it as a B, they would be in violation. So we'd be back here for a violation. Made of the BD7, they don't have
Food
the
requirement.
food requirement, and the code provision allows the board to have the discretion to convert it from a B to a BD7 under 8203D. Correct?
Correct.
And this has been operating how long as a B?
Since 1941.
Yeah, the original license goes back to 1938. It was a Class D originally, and it's been operating since about 1941 as a B. There's actually 1 year where it switches back in the 40s between a B and a D. So it's it's always been operated as a tavern.
Okay, but the question is, when an inspector goes into this place, he's expecting to look at the food
Now,
now, okay? And what has happened over the last 3 years? Has there been a violation ever?
that I don't know.
From looking at the records, they've always had an operating kitchen. I believe that the licensee has always been, and that's what I looked at the inspection records, and the inspection records show that they have an operating kitchen and they are operating a restaurant. So that's what we are looking for.
Yeah, but you're still looking for receipts.
Right, but they also look for receipts to show that they bought food, and we don't look at the sales because they're not required to turn in a sales receipts in this district.
Only the 46 has, which
46 has that?
the contention, but they're the only one that has the requirement. You have to tell them.
So they wouldn't necessarily be in violation.
Well, they're in violation right now.
If they,
There's no definition.
now, when you were saying, I know if they had to provide proof that they were doing 33 1/3% as they do in the 46, they would have been in violation. But when they came in, they saw a kitchen, and I'm not defending nor I'm casting stones at the inspectors. They come in for 15, 20 minutes. They see you have hot and cold running water. The bathrooms have toilet paper. They see that the kitchen is there, and then they check it off and they leave. They don't sit there and have a hamburger or something. Most of them don't unless they go to Bob's Burgers.
It's a rock and a hard place right now. Disapprove it. If we disapprove it, they're in violation.
Correct.
I'm in favor of the transfer of the upgrade.
I'm a yes.
Safety?
Elizabeth?
I'll get that letter for you if it makes you, I'm not to say make you feel better, if that's something you want.
Well, she may want to
Well,
put something on the record.
No,
okay.
I'm going to go with a no. The facts of this case are different from the case that you cited that we approved before. And I think while I do believe the law is a little bit is unclear on this point, I don't see any explicit language that allows us to do the transfer or to do the conversion from a license that has been a Class B pre-1967 over to a Class BD7.
Okay.
So you have 2 yeses.
All right. And I see your point.
Right.
We don't, it's like when Tom Ward was here, he says, "You're not going to like when I'm going to tell you this." I said, "So what's different? You've been telling me my whole life."
Well, right. You don't like what I'm telling you today.
Okay.
We can be.
Yes.
Thank you.
We're off the record. You got approved. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You want to see?
Sure.
Yeah, we're going to start the
go ahead.
violation.
Yeah, go ahead. We're done with the transfers anyway, so we're going into the violation, so that's fine. We're off the record, folks, until, and we're done with the transfers, so the next we'll have is the violations.
Just sent, I'm doing some work up at Temple University.
Okay. Are you guys ready to go back to we're going on the violation? Okay, we're going back on the record. I'm sorry. I'm all work, no play.
All right.
All right, today, this is, again, March 10th, 2016. This is our violations docket. I've got Margarita Del Rosario. Trade name is El Deportivo Sports Bar, and that's at 110 South Haven Street, a Class BD7. There are 2 violations. The first one is a violation of 4.08, relations with wholesalers. That occurred on February 4th, 2016. The second is a violation of Rule 3.09B, restrooms, facilities, and health regulations, and that also occurred on February 5th, 2016. I believe I have 2 or 3 ready to testify up. Okay, we have 1 officer that is going to be coming back.
Okay, so,
Indisposed.
let's just have,
Oh,
here
he's-
comes our officer. But are you going to go down there at the other end?
Don't make
No.
a difference.
Don't make no
know
difference.
him.
Okay. Wait a minute. Okay. Now we're ready. Let's have them all sworn in, all 5 of them.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Now, before we get started, let me just ask a question of the individuals who have the license. Do you contest the charges, or do you agree that you purchased the alcohol from someone else and that there was no running hot water?
First of all, I'm just the interpreter, so.
Okay, that's your interpreter. Okay. So,
Only the name of the
She's the interpreter.
All swear in.
who's the interpreter? You are?
Your name,
Okay.
ma'am.
So you agree to interpret everything correctly, yes?
Only.
Okay, so would you ask her if she intends to contest? Oh, we need your name, and then we need her name.
Okay. My name is
Who's speaking?
You come up,
Remedios Zapata. Remedios Zapata.
spell it.
R-E-M-E, D as in David, I-O-S, Zapata, Z-A-P-A-T-A. No. My name is Remedios.
Dios,
R-E,
and-
oh, yes.
Sorry, okay, just making sure. I have her name.
The number.
Okay, now, just so I know, does she contest these 2 charges? Is she in agreement that she purchased the alcohol from someone else, not a supplier? And does she agree that there was no running hot water when the health department went there? That's what I want to know right now. Does she agree to that, or does she want to have a full-blown hearing and have the people testify?
Okay. Dice que si estás de acuerdo o si quieres que ellos testifiquen. A lo que vieron, está hablando del licor que llegó, que lo compraron de la tienda, y igualmente que no había agua caliente. Que si estás de acuerdo con eso. Yes.
Yes,
She,
what?
she agrees that they depot the liquor. She has a reason why. And then the water, supposedly the light, it went off by itself.
Okay, so she's going to consent to the two charges. She's going to give us an explanation, right?
Yes.
And then we'll make a decision. So we don't need the testimony of these three people from the health department, the police department, the liquor department, correct? Okay, so just stand by, because I don't know where we're going with this. Okay, so why don't you interpret for her to tell us about the first charge, which is the purchase of the alcohol from the other places. And for the record, Madam Secretary, what we're going to do is we're going to take the two charges as stipulated and agreed by the licensee into the record. Do
Yes,
you
sir.
understand?
Yes, sir.
Does she understand?
I am about to tell her.
Tell her.
Okay. Dice que quiere escuchar de tu parte qué fue lo que pasó exactamente porque compraste licor de otro lugar. Y de allí ellos van a decidir. Sí.
Lo que pasó fue que yo había hecho el pedido y me dijeron que llegaba al otro día.
What happens was that I ordered the liquor the day before.
Hold on.
Okay.
Just, is she agreeable to that?
Okay, sí, que sí estás de acuerdo. She moved her head.
Yes,
Yes.
okay. The answer is yes. Okay, now tell us about purchasing the alcohol.
Okay, she's saying that she purchased the alcohol because she ordered the alcohol from the company the day before, and then they called her and told her that it would not arrive until the next day, and so she needed it. So she went to the regular liquor store and purchased what she purchased. I had
Okay, so she wasn't going to have it, this I'm correct. So she wasn't going to have it in time, so she went to a liquor store and bought what she thought she needed until her regular delivery would come there, correct?
Dice que lo que dijiste que es que ordenaste no te iba a llegar a tiempo y por eso que fuiste compraste
Para,
la tienda
para
de licor.
abrir ese día. Para poder
Yeah, so
abrir
that I
ese
could
día.
open that day, I did that.
Got it, okay. Now tell us about the no running hot water when the health department and police department went in there. Ask her to tell you about that.
Que le expliques ahora por qué no había agua caliente cuando la policía y el inspector fueron allá.
Dile que ese día había agua caliente, que yo me encontré raro cuando ellos fueron que no había agua caliente, pero en el momento que ellos lo vieron no había adelante porque el break se había disparado de la boila.
Okay.
Go
You say,
ahead.
at the time that I got there, it was hot water. When they came, I don't understand why it was not hot water, but when I went back there, the button had turned off by itself. I don't know how to explain it.
No sabía que se había disparado el break.
Is there hot water now?
¿Hay agua caliente ahora?
Yeah.
Yes.
Desde al otro día, de una vez.
The same day, today, yes.
Has the health department been in there to check to see if there's hot water?
¿Ha regresado el Departamento de Salud a
No.
chequear a ver si hay agua caliente?
No.
No. Okay. Are they open now for business?
¿Ya abrieron para el negocio ahora?
En este momento todavía no.
No, we have not.
No, because?
¿Por qué dice?
O después que cerraron, tú dices. Oh, sí. Yo creía que era otro día.
Okay. Yes, after they did, yes, we open up.
After what?
¿Que después de qué?
De cuando cerraron.
He said from the time that they
Yo
closed.
pensé que era después que habían cerrado.
I thought that it meant after they close. That's what she's saying. That I have to say exactly what she says.
No, I'm patient. So they're open now. Now, the reason they're open now is because she thought after she got the hot water, she could open?
Dice que la razón por qué estás abierta ahora es porque creíste que una vez que estuviera el agua caliente podías abrir.
Sí, porque yo pensaba que podía abrir.
Yes, because I thought I could.
Okay.
Did the health department close them down?
The health department didn't close them down. Police department closed them down. Okay. So they're open now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, stand by. Detective. Police department closed them. This is Detective Greenhill, by the way. I'm going to have him testify. Police department closed them down. They're now open, apparently. Correct?
Correct.
Have you gone back in there to make sure that they have hot water according to the health department?
I have not, but I did advise them that night that as long as they get it operational, they could reopen the very next day.
So they're okay?
They're good.
Okay. And the health department's not even in the picture because you advised the police department when you found out they didn't have hot water to close them down, correct?
No, I received a
I need to have your name.
Jessica Speaker, Baltimore City Health Department.
Okay.
I received a phone call at 10:22 on February 5th from Detective Greenhill asking for confirmation that if a licensed facility did not have hot water, that they could in fact close them.
Okay. Got it. And then you told them that once they were operational, they could open back up.
That's correct.
Okay. Got it. Okay, so now we have a technical violation of both rules. So now the next question, if you want to interpret, is for the commissioners to decide what the penalty might be. Madam Secretary, what's the history on this place?
There was a illegal conduct charge in December of 2015 that you fined $375 for.
What was the illegal?
Yeah, what was the nature of the?
It was in regards to urination in front of the establishment.
Okay.
I remember.
Yeah.
What's the 311 history?
On this one, there was just one call within the last 3 years, and it was in regards to someone selling drugs, but that was unsubstantiated.
Commissioners, if I can just add, during the
This is Inspector Christomala.
purchasing of the alcohol from other than a distributor, the gentleman that was there was very cooperative, immediately admitted guilt, provided me with a receipt as soon as I asked him for it. I just wanted to make you aware of
Did he
it.
give you a reason at that time?
At that time, to be honest, I personally didn't even think he knew what he was doing was wrong. Didn't try to cover it up. I said, "Where'd you get the liquor?" He said, "Oh, the liquor store." Showed me the receipt immediately. Didn't, try to cover it up. I don't believe he thought he knew what he was doing was illegal conduct.
Just so she understands, Inspector Christomala has now testified that he believed that the gentleman didn't know he was doing anything wrong, which inures, presumably, to her benefit. We'll see.
Yeah, I already said all that.
Okay, all right. I don't know how the other two commissioners are going to take it. That's how I'm taking it, okay? Takes 2 of the 3 to vote.
Well, there's already a finding of a violation.
Yeah. Two violations.
So now we just have to decide what the fine and
Right.
the penalties are going to be. Right.
Does she have any,
Are we still on the first one?
does she have any other
Reasons for the first violation, the selling to a wholesaler?
¿Tienes alguna otra razón por la cual vas a comprarle a otra tienda de licor de la que ya les dijiste?
No, solamente eso. Que no quería cerrar.
And does she want to say anything else about the hot water not being there?
¿Quieres igualmente decir alguna otra cosa en referencia al agua caliente o alguna otra razón por la cual está pagada?
Porque se había disparado el break y yo no lo sabía.
Solamente sí o no. No.
Last violation was $375 for just one violation, right?
Yes, sir.
La última violación anterior fueron de $300. Dice, no hay ninguna otra después de esa batalla.
29 cases. And this is,
I'm waiting for the other two commissioners to decide what they're going to do, just so she knows, okay? They're looking at their notes and thinking.
Dice que estoy esperando la decisión. que
on the
esté-
2 violations, I would fine them with $500
todas
apiece.
las notas y todo.
Ms. Havey?
It's very close to the previous violation.
Just had the forms.
500 for the, well, $500 for the second violation. The first one, the cases totaled 674.
We didn't confiscate, did we? We didn't confiscate.
We
Was
did
it
not.
confiscated?
It was not confiscated because we didn't have a controller agent with us to take it to the bonded facility, and we don't have one of our own. And quite frankly, it was way too much to destroy. It's 29 cases.
They didn't lose any money. Made money on that beer, but
Right. so-
comptroller wouldn't get, would the comptroller put a fine on them?
The comptroller would have probably.
Yeah, but we didn't refer this case to
Yeah,
the
we didn't
comptroller.
refer this to the comptroller's office.
He wouldn't do anything now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I say 600 for that first one.
Same as the beer.
Same as the beer.
What? You're saying 600?
No, that's what she's saying.
Oh, you're still saying 5 and 5?
Oh, I will agree to 600. That's the same as the
6 and 5.
6 and 5.
6 and 5.
Mm-hmm.
6 and 5.
1,100.
1,100 plus the hearing.
So it's 1,225.
Right. Now, tell her it's 12/25. We're going to give her 30 days to pay it. She doesn't have to pay it today, okay? But please interpret to her that there are certain rules that we have to abide by. I understand she has a business, but she needs to abide by the rules, just like everybody else, okay? All right? And she must pay within that 30 days, or Mr. Christomala will be out there knocking her on her door asking for the money or the license. Okay? Tell her, please.
Dice que te van a cobrar 1,250 en total. Y te dan 30 días para pagarlos, pero no te dan más de los 30 días. Si te pasan de los 30 días, este hermano va a venir a tocarte la puerta a pedirte el dinero.
You're a
por
mean
la
man.
licencia.
Okay.
1,250. Que por favor hagas caso porque tienen reglas.
Always a pleasure, Officer.
Tiene que ver
Always.
en el bar.
I will put this. Do you want me to move this down here for
Okay?
Gato?
And he is not authorized to take cash, only money orders or bank checks.
Or you can stop down in the office.
Or she can go to the office. Okay? All right?
Yo puedo pagar en el liquor bar allí en una-
Yeah. Okay?
Yes. Okay.
Muchas
Thank you.
gracias.
De nada.
De nada.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, folks, you're excused.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll just wait.
Huh?
He's got to do the next one.
Just wait.
He has to
Okay.
be here.
I don't like to walk.
So I like to walk up and back?
No,
No.
you can't use that extra exercise.
Yeah, I can't. It's- Took a lot of practice.
Oh, it's a nice, this is the,
Okay, so now we go to the next one.
which is?
La
Tiana
Rumba.
Ramos. So this Tiana Ramos, La Rumba, LLC. Trade name is La Rumba at 1650-54 Pratt Street. This is a Class BD7. There are 4 violations, excuse me. The first violation is a violation of Rule 3.09B, Restrooms and Facilities and Health Regulations. This occurred on February 6, 2016. The second violation is a violation of Rule 3.02, Cooperation. This again occurred on February 6, 2016. The next is a violation of 3.12, Public Welfare and Safety, that also occurred on February 6, 2016. And the final is illegal conduct, violation of Rule 4.16, and that happened on February 24th, 2016, and this is an issue regarding the records.
Okay, counsel, are we going to have testimony, or are we going to have a proffer?
I believe we're going to have testimony sworn so that the witness can address every issue.
Okey dokey. Everyone that intends to testify, please raise your hands, other than the attorney.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Chairman, just for the record, I'd like you to adopt the case file, if that's possible, as Exhibit 1 for the Liquor Board.
Yes, ma'am.
And then the other Exhibit 2, I have several letters that were received between the posting date. Those would also, I would like to have the collective Exhibit 2. The first one was received on March 7th, 2016, in regard from Mr. Jeff May. The next one was in regards from a Mr. David Kim from the Broadway Business Association. That was received on March 8th. There's another one in regards to, from Mr. Victor Corbin, that was received on March 9th, 2016, along with some photos, which I have copies for the board and for the licensee. The next one was in regards from Miss Joanne Massapus, an email that was sent on March 9th. And the last was an email from the Washington Hill Community Association that was received this morning from Miss Katie Promosh. And those were the exhibits that were received.
Now, those exhibits can be included in the docket, but if they're not here for cross-examination by counsel, when they go up on the record, the circuit court judge, if it goes up, will have to decide whether he or she is going to do.
And I would object to all of these exhibits if they did come
I
up.
understand. So, but, okay, who's going to go first? Inspector Christomales? Okay.
On or about February 6, 2016, at approximately 0:10 hours, I, Inspector Krista Malice with the BCLB, while on duty working with the Joint Task Force from Baltimore City Vice, state and federal agencies, while conducting inspections on liquor establishments, came to 1650 through 54 East Pratt Street in the city of Baltimore, state of Maryland. After entering the establishment, we made contact with the owner-manager, Mr. Nicholas Ramos, and informed him of this inspection. During the inspection, we determined there was no hot water in the restaurant and bar. At that time, the Baltimore City Police contacted Baltimore City Health for instructions and was told that the establishment could not remain open without running hot water. At this time, Sergeant Lesser advised Mr. Ramos of the situation and advised him that the establishment would have to close until time running hot water was restored. At that time, Mr. Ramos became very agitated with the members of the Joint Task Force and began yelling and cursing. At that time, Mr. Ramos started recording the Joint Task Force members and activated a bright light on his camera. Mr. Ramos was acting irate and was out of control. At approximately 4 minutes of verbal abuse of him pointing the bright light in the Joint Task Force members' eyes, blinding everyone that came in contact with the light, I felt it was putting our safety at risk and that Mr. Ramos was not being cooperative. At that time, I began filming the incident in order to submit it as evidence. After the location was empty, we exited the location, at which time Mr. Ramos followed the task force down Pratt Street, heading west, recording and yelling. This behavior caused a scene after midnight outside of the location. We entered our vehicles and left the location. The inspector violated the establishment of Rule 3.09, Health, 3.02, Cooperation, and 3.12, General Welfare.
Where did 4.16 illegal conduct come from? That wasn't yours on February 24th?
It was not.
Yeah, that's in regards to the liquor board when we do the check in regards to the things.
Okay. Counsel, cross-examination of Inspector Christomales.
Good afternoon, Inspector.
afternoon.
Do you have a copy of the video that you recorded?
I do.
Can we get that after this hearing?
Sure.
Tell us about what were you doing before getting to La Rumba? How did this all begin?
We were notified by Baltimore City Police that they were going to be out doing inspections in the southeast area, and they were going to be conducting most of the inspections at liquor establishments, at which time I met up with them and we started our inspections.
Do you know, if we can just break it down, the timeline, when did you get the inquiry from them? When were you notified about this?
I don't have that on my...
Do you know if it was the same day? Was it...
We usually coordinate probably a couple of days before.
And how is that done? Is that done over email, phone call?
Mostly phone call, depending on who's working, what shifts.
So what happens when you get a phone call a few days before? How do you get ready for the inspection?
We go with officers, and either the officers in health or officers in zoning, officers in fire, and we, depending on what agency is going to be with us, fire has certain liquor establishments that they need to visit, health has certain liquor establishments they need to visit. We'll coordinate accordingly.
Specifically with your group, who was there, who was present?
It was myself, with Liquor Board, Baltimore City Vice,
Who was there from the liquor board?
myself.
And who was there from Vice?
I don't know all the officers. Hand Sergeant Lesher could probably answer that question better.
Could you estimate for us how many officers were there?
Total,
Yeah.
between Baltimore City, total, I would say 12, give or take. I didn't count.
Okay. But from the liquor board, it was just yourself?
Just myself.
What kind of documentation do you keep of these inspections?
Documentation as far as?
Well, you were just reading from your report, right? One of the reports where you
That's the
noted.
report that I wrote, that I entered in.
Is that the only report that you make on that night on that inspection?
Correct. I didn't conduct a routine inspection at the establishment.
You did not conduct a routine?
I did not. I just, as soon as we found the not hot water, because of the different, number of establishments we had to go, a routine inspection takes quite a while, so we don't typically conduct routine inspections once we go in and do checks.
How many establishments were you going to inspect that night?
I think we inspected 10.
How long does each inspection take?
It depends what inspection you're referring to. We have compliance inspections, we have routine inspections, we have 311 complaint inspections.
So let's talk about on the evening in question for February 6th. How long did that inspection take of La Rumba?
That took, I would say, about 30 minutes.
Who found the issue with water?
Baltimore City Vice.
So it was not yourself?
Correct.
What was Baltimore City Vice's role in this inspection?
The Vice unit inspects liquor establishments as we do.
Do you know how many Vice?
I'm not part of Vice, sir. You're gonna have to ask the police department that question.
Okay. One moment. Do you remember who arrived at La Rumba first? Was it yourself? Was it someone else?
We went together.
Okay, and do you know what time that was that you arrived at La Rumba?
Approximately 0 to 10 hours.
And that's the time from your report, correct?
That's correct.
No further questions at this time.
Thanks. All right, let's hear from the representative of the Health Department. Just identify yourself for the record.
Jessica Speaker, Baltimore City Health Department. Just to make confirmation that I received a call on February 5th, 2016 at 10:22 from Detective Greenhill as well as Sergeant Leisher for confirmation that they can close a food establishment for no hot water.
Okay. That's the extent of her testimony, counsel. Cross-examination.
Good afternoon, Ms. Speaker. Did you keep any records or reports?
No, telephone call.
When was that telephone call made? Do you know?
10:22 on February 5th, 2016.
Do you have a copy of that call?
You can borrow my cell phone. It's on my cell phone.
Okay. If we can get a copy of that after, that'd be great. Do you know how long that call was for?
Maybe 2 minutes tops.
And who was it from?
Detective Greenhill, and he passed the phone over to Sergeant Leisher.
And did you speak to anybody else after this phone call?
No, sir.
So that was the extent of your involvement?
I work very closely with them. We work with the Vice Squad, as Chris just let you know.
How do you coordinate with the Vice Squad?
Multiple ways, same as the liquor board, telephone, or email.
But you don't have any emails about this inspection?
Not this one specifically, no.
There are no other memos in your office about this inspection?
Not for February 6th inspection.
And that was the first time that you heard anything about La Rumba or the inspection going on that evening?
About the inspection going on, yes. About La Rumba, no. We had complaints come into our office.
Do you have memos or reports of those complaints?
I'm sure we do, not with me.
Okay. If I may have a moment. Yeah, if we can just get that information from yourself, that'd be great. No further questions.
Approximately, no, I have questions. She's opened the door. Approximately how many complaints have you had against La Rumba?
Starting in February, around February 1st, we received complaints from the community through 311, I believe. We also received from the Senator Bill Ferguson, some from his constituents.
What were the complaints about? Just noise?
Noise, drunken customers, which we have nothing to do with. The establishment being a nuisance to the neighborhood as far as uncleanliness and the outside general area being dirty.
Can you,
In light of our questions?
Mhm. Do you have any way to verify those complaints?
We receive complaints constantly from 311. That's how the system works. And like I said, I have an email from the senator.
Okay, if we can get a copy of that email.
You're gonna have to put in a PIA request for all these.
Okay.
We have no problem giving you stuff, but we have to have it all record.
Were there any complaints against La Rumba that day, though?
I do not know.
But so you're not aware of any complaints at 301 that day against La Rumba, are you?
I do not know.
When was that email from Bill Ferguson?
Do not recall.
So it also wasn't the same day or the week prior? No further questions.
Okay. Detective Greenhill,
Yes, sir.
you're up next. Okay, do you want,
Mr. Votto wrote the report, so he can testify to
okay, he
everything,
wrote the
and I
report,
concur.
and he can testify. Okay, go ahead. Identify yourself, please, for the record first, and then tell us what happened.
Detective Abraham Gatto, Vice Unit, Baltimore City Police Department. As Inspector Chris Amalis has already testified, we did arrive at this location. We had a random inspection taking place when it was found that there was no hot water in the bar due to the fact that there was a kitchen, there was two people in the kitchen area, the pilots were lit. Due to the fact that they cannot clean anything, they have no hot water to clean, it was deemed that the establishment should be shut down due to no hot water. At which time, as Inspector Chris Amalis testified, Mr. Ramos became very agitated. He pulled a phone out, started recording everyone inside the establishment, shining some light out of the phone. He shined it in my eyes. If you read my report, he went on a tirade of stating different things such as "Viva la Baltimore," "Baltimore is a republic." I don't make any fucking money. You all make fucking money every month. He said, I don't have any prostitution or any drugs in my bar, just hot water. The video that has been posted by, I'm guessing, defense, pretty much explains the whole situation. You will hear very few comments from the police officers, one being mine, letting Mr. Ramos know that the health department would be following up with him. And you can hear my supervisor advising him, you need to get your water situation fixed. He followed us out into the street. And if you look on the video, which mirrors my report, he's following right behind me. And you can see me immediately start looking around in the street. You see me look up Broadway, then you see me walk down Pratt, and you see me looking over at different individuals. These were individuals, also patrons that were in the bar, stopped, standing on the corner, listening. He's more or less was drawing a crowd or gaining the attention of people while he's yelling and swearing, asking us who pays for the gas in our vehicles and things like that. I'm just going to give my opinion of the bar that the lighting in there is very dim.
He's testifying as to the lighting. Just leave the opinion part out. Strike the opinion part out. Just tell us about the lighting.
Yes, it's my impression that there is possibly.
Objection.
Just tell us what it was like when you walked in there. When you've been
I do
in
not
other
believe that there's sufficient
Objection.
or legal.
You can't draw legal conclusions. Was there sufficient light in the establishment?
There is not, and I believe it's the fact.
Objection.
It's due to a lack of power to the establishment.
Move to strike.
Objection sustained. That's not what we're here for. But what else, Detective Gatto?
The verbal assault continued until the units, as you can see on the video, which should be played here, all got into their respective vehicles, and then we drove off. The video ends there, and my report ends there.
Okay.
How many places did you attend that night or inspect?
I would say approximately, as Inspector Chris Mel said, 10. I know I have 3 reports just for some of the locations.
How do you determine the places that police will inspect? Just randomly?
Well, it's we're
Or
given
is it by
we're given
311 calls or-
we're given orders by command, and it could be a certain section of the city. It could be Northwest Baltimore. It could be Southern Baltimore, and the areas within. That's where we'll.
So this, basically what you're saying, this is a routine inspection gathering in that neighborhood. You weren't highlighting certain bars and.
No, it was just the area that we were assigned to.
Okay.
Right. So what I want to know is whether a 911 or some other call prompted you to go to that establishment.
Nothing of, to my knowledge, and nor to the knowledge of my knowledge of any of the locations we went to that night. It just was what we do. It's our job.
Okay. Counsel?
So it's routine to take 12 to 20 officers to the same restaurant 3 times in 9 days?
I don't know about 12 to 20 officers in 3 days. Where you're getting that number is on your own.
It's not on my own. It's actually through the notices and through this
Didn't
board.
testify to that, counsel. Ask him to cross about his testimony. If you want to produce it with your witnesses, that's what you do,
Thank you.
okay?
How many inspections are you aware of?
Of what?
Of La Rumba.
I'm aware of 2.
What days were those?
The date of 2/6/2016, and the other one I do not know, but I remember being there.
Was it before or after this 2/6, February 6th?
After.
Was it similar?
Yes, it was.
Specifically talking about what happened on February 6th. How many people were you with at the inspection?
Approximately, I believe maybe 12 to 14 officers. I don't know the exact count. If you reflect my report, you'll see that there was other agencies involved.
How many vehicles were involved?
I don't know.
You saw the video of the event?
I was there.
So you'd say that all the vehicles in the video were associated with this inspection?
Well, to house the number of officers, I didn't count the number of vehicles. That's something I'm assuming you've done, but I don't know.
Could you approximate it was 5 to 7 vehicles?
Well, if there was, what I testified at 12 to 14 people, possibly yes.
And 2 of those were marked vehicles with their lights on in front of La Rumba?
That was not a part of our units. Those are people who may have responded due to us shutting down the location. It's a practice of ours when Vice, and we're in a district, if we shut down an establishment, we notify that district, the commanders there, that way they know that establishment is closed for business that night. It's just something that we do to communicate. That way there's no issue with patrons showing up, wondering what's going on.
And when you approached La Rumba that evening, you had the group of 12 to 14 officers. They were predominantly displaying vests that had police on them, etc.?
Yes, sir.
Did that draw the attention of anyone in the neighborhood?
That could. I'm not, it's not to my knowledge. Nobody said anything, but it could. Yes.
Well, after you stated that people were drawn
Due to the
La
yelling.
Roomba, correct?
Yeah, yeah. I stated that due to the yelling of your client.
Well, you don't know why they went there, do you?
Say again?
You just saw people on the street. You don't know what prompted
I saw them
to go
stopping.
there, did
People were randomly walking up down Broadway and East Pratt all the time from Perkins and from the different stores there. But when they stop due to a loud disturbance, someone screaming, especially at police officers, that starts to draw a crowd.
Let's talk about the hot water. You didn't find any other violations that night, did you?
Not to my knowledge, no.
And that inspection took about half an hour?
Approximately.
So you didn't find any illegal activity in the venue, did you?
No.
And there were no other violations, correct?
Just the liquor violations.
Pardon, just the what?
Just the liquor violations.
It's just the hot water?
Sir.
If I may ask the board, what would be the best way to approach this? I would like to show you the video because we're having testimony about it, and I feel that the video would be the best evidence to show exactly what happened. We have one of the direct complaints is that Mr. Ramos put a bright light into the officer's eyes and was not allowing them to complete their inspection. We have Mr. Ramos here with the cell phone and the light that we can demonstrate to show what it was. And then if you could see the video, I have a tablet that can play the entire video. It's about 4 minutes and 20 seconds.
It's fine.
Yeah, right. We object to that. We don't know if it's the same phone, nor we're going to have to dim the lighting here.
What do you?
We'll have to wait and see, Detective Gatto, what it is. I've seen the video, so I know what it's on it. So if it's not what I've seen, then we're gonna have a problem.
Right.
But I don't know what they're gonna show me, or the other commissioners. They said they wanna see it, so we'll see it. It was posted, by the way, on a public media site. That's where I saw it.
If I may just,
Sure.
if,
Well, she's gonna speak yet. He's gonna show us the video, aren't you?
yeah, we're going to do this first and then you can speak.
Okay.
Would you like to address the board?
Yes, I would.
She wants to speak first?
I would,
Okay.
yes.
Well,
Are we done with the?
no, we're not done with the
Yeah,
testimony
we're
of
not.
everyone yet. So we're not even up to your case yet. Okay, so just, we'll watch the video. We'll leave her speak, be very fair, but we're gonna listen to the other people's testimony, finish one side, then do your side, and then that's how we do it. So do you have questions of Detective Gatto? Other questions?
That's all my questions for now.
Okay, now, there's other people standing behind Detective Gatto, and I can't really see. Miss Anderson, were you sworn in?
Yes.
Okay, so you're gonna have to pull that microphone down some.
I'm short? No.
I didn't say you were short, I just said you're gonna have to pull the microphone down some.
So I don't know if my testimony would actually be better closer to the end or not, just because it kind of ties into some of the other.
Behind you is the sergeant, and I think he's the last witness, right?
The only thing I could testify to, and I don't know if you hear it,
You guys need to come down.
Hold up.
I select the locations we go to, so if you need to know why, I can enlighten you as to why. It's not very
Okay,
complicated.
identify yourself.
Sergeant Chris Leisher, Baltimore City Police Department
Can we
Vice
double check
Unit.
the microphone? Is he good?
He's got the microphone.
It's right here.
Okay.
He's got it.
Okay.
He's got it.
It's fine, just you need to come forward and talk.
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay. I'm the one who selects locations. I do it by a variety of ways. Do we sometimes use 911 calls? Yes. 311 calls? Yes. Complaints to people that call the office? Yes. From the majority of the time, we do it from the district personnel. When we're in the districts, officers come up to us and said, hey, can you look at this place? Can you look at that place? Things of that nature. We also get complaints from the health department, from housing, from zoning. So that's how the list is determined.
Sorry, can I just get your full name?
It's Sergeant Christopher Leisher, Leisher.
Red Cross, that's his testimony, I mean.
Do you remember the night, February 6th, that evening?
Yes, I do.
Why do you recall that evening?
Because I was there.
You were where?
At the location.
Okay, let's go before you were at La Rumba. How did you become involved with the inspection of La Rumba?
How was that place chosen? Is that what you're asking me?
Let's talk about what were you doing that evening, and then how did you get to the inspection of La
Well, I
Rumba?
came to work.
Well, wait a minute. What's the relevance, counsel? Just
How did they become aware of to inspect
Well,
La
then
Rumba?
ask him that. Don't ask him where he was all evening. I mean, he might have been out eating pizza for all I know. I don't care about that.
I believe I had a burger that night, just so you
You know.
No, my question is, how did you become involved with La Rumba? How did you get involved with this inspection?
Why was this location chosen? It's because of complaints from the district personnel.
What
La
complaints
Rumba.
did you get from district personnel?
The complaints were in reference to loud noise, reference to fighting, in reference to possible underage personnel inside.
When were these complaints made?
I receive them. People call all the time, and when we're out, they tell us all the time when we're ever in the district.
But there wasn't anything that day?
No, the location had already been chosen prior to that day.
When was it chosen?
I believe the list was probably put together maybe a week or so prior.
Were you aware that there were 3 inspections on this restaurant in a 9-day period?
I'm aware of 2. One was basically a follow-up.
Okay, and there are no violations on that follow-up inspection?
The follow-up was done by the health department, and they still didn't have any hot water, so yes.
You closed them down that evening?
The first night we were there, what had happened was we shut them down. We contacted the health department and advised them, like we always do, of what we found, that there was no hot water. And she, as I already knew, but I always confirmed, just so we make them aware, she advised that if they have no hot water, they are to be closed. So that was happened.
When you made the reinspection,
The re-inspection was done by the health department. We did go with them, as we normally do at any location they go to at nighttime, and he had still not yet fixed his hot water, and they had more violations the second time.
but were they still closed down?
No, they were open.
You closed them down, they reopened?
Yes, he was closed down, he reopened, he got closed down by the health department, he stayed open anyway. He ignored everyone when he was supposed to stay closed.
And Chairman, for the record, just to make it a little bit clearer, we were there on February the 3rd in regards to the suspensions for failure to pay. So it may seem that there were 3 that we came in a series of days, but we were there in order to get it
Pay their license.
correct. So I just want to make that clarification on the record, is that we were there on February 3rd in regards to that, and that's in our file, and it's noted.
Well, I see it in the file, but they were before us on September the 24th.
Correct.
September, October, November, December, January, February, 6 months, and they hadn't paid. So
Right.
that's why we were there.
Yes, sir, but it wasn't,
They hadn't paid.
correct, it wasn't an inspection, but it was the inspector was there.
Take the license.
Correct.
Well, I sent them out to take the license.
Correct, sir. But I just wanted to make that note, because it would have seemed that within that same week, we were there.
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
that's the three inspections.
That's the 3 inspections. And on the next day, just for the record, they paid the $875. But they hadn't paid up to that point, just so you know, counsel, for 6 months after we had given them 30 days and sent them letters and sent them letters and sent them letters. And so anyway,
And the license fee was also paid and up to date, if I can just add that in.
in February,
Correct?
6 months after we told them to pay.
The day after they were
The day
visited
after I
again.
took their license. Wow, isn't
Correct.
that amazing? Go ahead, don't, please. Cross-examination?
I have nothing, I mean, I don't know if he has any
Well,
additional.
Do you have any other reports on the inspections? Other than the 2 that were provided?
Oh, no, I don't have anything besides those 2.
That's all.
Okay, do we have any other witnesses?
Chairman,
Now we do, right?
Yeah,
What?
Chairman, the only other, that Ms. Anderson wanted to, I guess, testify in regards to the, no, in regards to the violation for illegal conduct on 416. I guess she had also looked up the information that we had also discovered, and that's what she had asked me in regards to.
The trader's
Trader's
license
license
issue,
issue.
right?
Correct.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Right. Which is a public record,
Correct.
by the way.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
So first, I just wanted to start by saying that, on September 23rd, Commissioner Trotter noted to the licensee, this is very close to becoming a blight on the community. I think it's fairly obvious at this point that all of this stuff, even though they may seem like minor violations in the grand scheme of things, have contributed significantly to this blight. It has not gotten better. In fact, it's actually gotten worse. Mr. Trotter also stated, I'd say that if it comes before us again, I would recommend closing you. I bring this up because I'll get back to it in the end. But the licensee was also told that same day by Chairman Neal, clean it up, be a good neighbor, or come back here and lose your license. End of the line. You need to speak with this lady and sort this out because you have two options. Clean it up and be a good neighbor, or come back here and let us be the bad guys. This is the second time in roughly, 6 months that we've been back here for this, that this place has been shut down for very serious health violations. It's a detriment to the businesses on the Broadway corridor. It's a detriment to the residents on the corridor. And that area represents a really diverse group of people that thrive from the businesses there. And it's just, I'm seeing it become increasingly problematic. There's been no response from the licensees to concerned community members that have been coming to them since 2014 at the earliest, or the latest that I can think of. Nothing has happened. We continue to see these violations. I've personally seen him tear these signs down after being closed by the health department and, I guess, Vice. And it's just continuing, and we're just kind of in this cycle of the blame game. And it's really sad to me that it's taken getting shut down to realize that you need to pay your fines. A liquor license is a privilege, not a right. We shouldn't have
Objection.
to...
On what grounds? I mean,
Now-
it is a privilege, not a right. What's your?
What kind of testimony is this leading to? This is just.
I don't know what her testimony is.
She's making legal
Could you
opinions
just-
now.
Well,
I'm not making legal opinions. Your liquor license is not a right, and you've treated my neighborhood like crap.
okay, so we're going to stop there, but we are going to get testimony about what I thought you were going to testify to, which was the trader's
It is.
license.
And so basically, I do see that on February 29th, I believe, they finally paid the trader's license, which is 9 months and 30 days after it expired. So it took, yet again, the liquor board getting involved and saying, hey, you're a delinquent on this fine. So much like all the other issues, it's a wait and see until somebody catches on and goes after you for it. And that's a problem. You need to be proactive, and this is a symptom of a much larger problem with this establishment.
Okay, my question, Ms. Anderson, was on February 24th, I'm just reading from our records, that you went online, which is a public document, and determined that the trader's license was delinquent.
Yes.
Yes or no?
Correct.
Yes. Okay. So counsel, so we're done. Hold on a minute. Cross-examination.
You weren't there for the inspection on February 6th,
I was not there. I'm not an officer of anything in the city.
so you weren't there for any of the inspections, correct? Was there any prior communication, any memos or emails with any of the departments that are involved in this issue here today?
I have called 311 along with neighbors of mine who have corresponded with them, and I'm sure that I have communicated with not necessarily the members here regarding these specific incidents, but I have communicated with the health department and the liquor board previously about concerns from various problem establishments. So are you looking for specific emails or specific correspondence? Because I would need a computer to look it up for you.
Have you had correspondence with any of the people that testified here today or anybody involved with the liquor board about the La Rumba?
I have expressed my concern to various members of various agencies from which these people came.
Okay.
I have a question, since it's already been introduced into evidence. Do you have any idea how many, Miss Anderson? Hello, I'm talking to you. Do you have any idea how many 311 calls you may have made?
In the last 3 to 4 months, I probably made 2.
Okay. Madam Secretary, do we have a record of since it's already in the record, do we have a record of 311 calls concerning La Rumba?
Yes, sir, and I have a copy for you as well.
Penny.
So it is we have a total of 23 calls, and these date from August of 2013 to September of 2015, actually, and it's two-sided, so I have copies for the board.
Okey-dokey. Well, I want you to make sure you give a copy to the lawyer.
You said December. We don't have any ones from 2016.
On this poll, from the information that I have that was pulled by staff, there wasn't any recent in there, but there are some. But when people call 311, it may go to police and to health department. So I do not have access to health department and police's 311 calls. These are solely liquor board, the ones that were determined to be liquor board calls.
I believe, counsel, that that's the case in chief. I think that your client wanted to testify first. I don't want to try your case for you, but I think that she wanted to testify, and then she was willing to have the tape shown. I think that's how it
And
went.
Chair, for clarity, that I would, if you'd like, should that be Exhibit 3?
That's exactly what I was going to follow up on. The
Yes.
301 call records, Exhibit 3, please.
Yes. Okay. So we'll hear from your client. She'll have to identify herself because he's recording, and then she can testify.
Just remember to speak into the microphone.
And since it's an administrative hearing, counsel, you're welcome to lead.
Thank you.
Okay?
Please introduce yourself to the board.
My name is Tanya Ramos. First, I'd like to begin by apologizing to the police officers. I apologize for the conduct that Mr. Ramos did on them. It was done under desperation. The economy hit us hard. It's been holding on to a string to hold on to this business. We're not holding on to it because we love the bar business. We're holding on to it because this is the last of our investments that we have. We're trying to hold on to it a little bit more so that we can figure out if somebody wants the property. If we were to sell the property or close the property right now, it's underwater. Somebody would buy it under us for pennies for the dollars, basically. And they'd come in there and they would build an enormous high-rise or a beautiful building that would probably satisfy the community a lot more. But the problem is, you cannot continue to push people out. See, nobody likes the customers at the Roomba. I understand that. They're low-income customers. 98% of them are Hispanic. They don't dress good. They don't have a lot of basic knowledge on etiquette. So what happens is, communities take these people. Fells Point doesn't want them. Canton doesn't want them. The Harbor doesn't want them. So they force them to create their own little communities. But then you have certain associations that say, we don't want them here. Not that they live within a block away or 2 blocks away, but because they're an inconvenience.
Can I
So-
actually object to something
Oh,
she said?
I'd like to speak. You had your turn.
She's going to testify, Miss Anderson. I'm sorry.
Ms. Anderson, you'll have your chance to speak.
Okay. So it's like if you keep doing this to people, well, where are these people going to go? Everybody wants to go to a bar. Everybody wants to have a drink on a Saturday or on a Friday. So where do they go? Do you mix them in with the Fells Point community? So then what'll happen then? Fights? People pushing people around because we don't want you here. You don't look like us. You don't act like us. You don't speak like us. Where are they going to go? Is there a place for them to go? Should we build a wall and separate the city so we can have one group of people on one side and one group of people on the other side and they don't have to see each other? This is what a city is. It's communities forming together. I'm not arguing the things that are stated. There's a lot of things that we did wrong, and I take full responsibility for that. A lot of them are because money issues, as simple as that, holding on to something that you're trying desperately to hold on to just for a little while longer. Now, there's a couple of things that I want to state. That night, this happened at 12:10. I understand. I have family members in the police officers, in the police force, so I understand what police officers deal with. But you have to understand, this happened at 12:10. At 12:30, a couple of blocks from us, at a bar, there was a shooting. At 2:30, a couple of blocks from us the other way, there was a hit and run. There was not one police officer in the area at the time that this happened. Yet you had in one establishment 12, as said by the police officer, 12 to 14 police officers armed and vested walking into this place all at one time. Their cars were parked around the corner, right in front of the business. Their lights were on. More police officers came and responded, because he did say that. And of course, people stopped. Of course, I'm surprised people didn't get out of their buildings to see what was going on. Baltimore has been hit very hard this past year. They advise you, film, film, film. You film, and then they say, well, you filmed and our lives are in danger. How can you film outside at night without having a light on? It's a horrible situation. I think that the police department and the communities need to work together. I think I saw in one of the reports that says that so many police officers were there because they were Spanish speaking. One police officer that I'm aware of spoke Spanish. One. Now, it puts a stigma on your business when you have all these cars. First of all, they're scared of the immigration. And if you look at the Sunday Post and you see the remarks that people made, I came to this country when I was a little girl. And because of the way that I look, I never felt it and I never saw it. But when I got married and I have children, I see it every day. When you read these lines, send them back. They were all illegals. Let's build a wall around them. It's horrifying to see what they're doing. And it's right there in black and white. It's not even like a hearsay. You know, my daughter is a school teacher in the neighborhood. She's part of TFA. She moved into the neighborhood and we went out to eat. And I sat in a pizza place that's been there for over 30 years. And I asked the waitress, how's the neighborhood? My daughter's moving in. My daughter is brown skin and curly hair. And the waitress looked at us and said, well, the neighborhood would be better if the Latinos and the blacks weren't here. Again, just push us out. Push us out. Where do we go? It's like, yeah, they're not happy with us. I get it. These people, my people, they may not act right. They may not be the proper etiquette. But I guarantee if you go down to Fells Point or Canton at 1:30 in the morning, you're going to see the same group of people not the same group of people acting the same way. People come out of bars, they're happy, see you tomorrow, they're laughing, they're joking. But these people don't look right, they don't dress right, they don't speak the same language, so all of a sudden it becomes very offensive. Now, the whole thing about the roaches, the infestation, I want everybody to just put a little bit of common sense into this. You have a business and you have customers.
Could you please
Oh, I'm sorry.
testify into the microphone?
Yes.
Because, I mean, you keep going a little.
I'm sorry.
That's
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
That's okay.
You really think that we're that low class, or our customers are that low class, that they're going to sit at a bar infested with roaches and rats? What do? They wipe them away as they're taking a drink? I mean, things are exaggerated to the point of making it sound horrible. Now, the community testified that we haven't done anything, that we've been here over and over and over again. They submitted some pictures from the last time that we were here. First of all, that's not a bar issue. That's an empty lot. I don't own that lot. That lot is not mine. The pictures you're taking in the middle of the day, I don't think that my customers were drunk at 12 o'clock in the afternoon and passed out in this thing. They were homeless people. My husband, we have fixed up the lot. We have removed the grass. There is no more grass. We have put cement on the floor. It is a perfectly clean, empty lot without one piece of trash on it. So to sit here and say that we've been here and we haven't repaired the issues, that's not true. We have repaired the issues. I have pictures of the bar.
And we can submit these to the court. If I'll just defer to the board on how you'd like to enumerate them. We have 3 copies of each, so you can pass them down.
And believe me, I'm not here. Like, my point isn't to be here and say, oh, no, we're being attacked. I saw the comments in the Baltimore Sun. Oh, first the African American people sue the cops. Now the Latinos are going to sue the cops. No. My thing is I want to work together with the police officers. And like I said, I apologize for the behavior, but it was done out of desperation. It's very hard for us to meet our mortgage payment. And this month, we're not going to be able to meet it. And I don't know what's going to happen.
Questions from the commission?
Where are those pictures? Or
If you can walk us through those are all pictures of inside La Rumba, correct?
All pictures of inside La Rumba,
and
yes.
when were they taken?
They were just taken just a couple of days ago.
what time of day?
I don't know. My husband's been there after work in the evenings, painting and fixing and making sure that everything looks as perfect as we can get it.
I'm going to show you two documents. Do you recognize these documents?
I do.
What are these documents, if you can identify them for the commission?
This is the license, and this is the good standing.
And are you up to date with your fees now?
We are now, and we were not, and I take responsibility for that. I'm not here denying it, and I'm saying our insurance went up, our property taxes went up, our mortgage went from, we had a refinance. We were paying a $3,000 mortgage. We're paying $5,300 a month.
Can we speak specifically about the hot water issue? Did you have a functioning hot water heater that day?
We had a small hot water heater, and I accept that. It was not, I guess, according to standards to the size of the business. We replaced the hot water heater. We have a full, I don't know how many gallons, but it's the size of a refrigerator hot water heater.
Before, even with the small hot water heater, would you still have hot water?
Yes. The problem is that if a lot of people use the bathroom, if the water was running, there'd be a waiting time for the water to warm up again to get this hot water again. And if you leave the water running for a while, the water turns cold.
I don't know if we want to.
I don't know, that's up to your client, if you want to show the video.
This is
I'll defer to my client. There's, just to let this board know as well, I am contesting all of the health issues. I don't believe they're substantiated. We requested a hearing. I'm going to add this into the file. That hearing is still pending. The earliest date we could get was March 21st. Just in full candor, we don't have any finalized meeting plans on that.
But you're open.
No, sir, we're not open. We are not open.
Tell them, since the last inspection, what did you do in response?
We closed. I'm not here saying we didn't have work in the place. We've been working consistently in the evenings to get the place up to code. I'm not saying, oh, no. It's all them. Nothing us. I don't want to bear this on my shoulder. That's not what I'm doing. We did not open. I mean, to think that we could do the cleanup and everything that we did and be open to our customers, we did not open. It hasn't been open. I mean, that's not true. And I ask anybody, the thing is that everybody here states, we live in a world of technology. And everybody here states it was open, there were ratchets, but nobody can provide one photo. We live in a world of technology.
Okay, the lady from the health department would like to respond.
I just want to make some clarity, because everything that was.
To identify yourself again,
Jessica
I think.
Speaker, sorry, Health Department. Everything that we were told to talk about today was for February 6th, and the attorney has brought up the second inspection with the Health Department and Vice Squad. That took place on Friday night, the 12th. Right? Friday the 12th. I do not have the report with me. I was one of the inspectors there, so I can testify about what I saw and what happened. It was two inspectors from the health department, myself and Patricia Valls, the director of environmental health. It was four vice squad police officers, and after we decided to close the facility, we called Southeast District to get an interpreter, and 2 additional police officers showed up. Also, your inspector, Liquor Board, Chris, was there. On the 12th, yes. During the time of the inspection, the short version, we observed pictures, we observed dead roaches in the kitchen. We observed what came to figure out later, a dead baby rat on the counter next to the kitchen. The kitchen had lots of clutter in the walk-in. There were children's toys throughout the floor of the kitchen. The ladies' restroom did not have hot water. The rest of the establishment did. General unsanitary conditions. The floor, as Ms. Ramos explained has now since been fixed. The floor was giving. It was very nervous to walk over top of, next to the bar, between the bar and the kitchen. The establishment never was told that their customers had to leave while we were doing the inspection. That's normal. We do the inspection. If we deem that the facility needs to be closed, then the customers have to leave the facility. Mr. Ramos was contacted by the bartender. At the time, we asked her to see if he wanted to come in. He said whatever he said to the bartender. I can't testify to that. And then the facility was closed. We tape closure notices to the outside of the doors that state "do not remove." That has the reasoning for the closure from the health department, the date, and the address of the facility. We were contacted, this was a Friday night, we were contacted on Monday stating that the facility had been open over the weekend and that they had removed their closure notice signs. We sent an inspector, I believe on that Monday, to see if the notices had been taken down. They had. We took photographs, documented, and a citation was sent to the facility. Following that, the facility was reposted for closure, and then they took the signs down again and were issued yet another citation. All the while, they're supposed to be closed at this time. After all is said and done, Mr. Ramos put in for an administrative hearing in writing to our director. That is now scheduled, I think, for April 1st.
They were unclear on the dates. We were trying to get the earliest we could.
I know it was scheduled earlier and it's been postponed to April 1st. At this time, the facility is still closed. We have not done a reinspection pending the administrative hearing.
Now,
So it's closed to the administrative hearing?
Until then, yes. There are some other circumstances that I can't testify on about citations that have been issued to the facility. I did not write them, so I can't testify on them.
now, Counsel, you're welcome to ask her any questions, but her testimony, from what I gather, was with regard to the 12th. We're not here for the 12th. We're here for 3 violations on the 6th. The testimony from Ms. Anderson about the delinquent trader's license. And to be honest, for the record, everything that Ms. Anderson had to say with regard to the other items is irrelevant, is not taken into consideration by the commissioners, and I am hereby directing the commissioners for the record that that's not part of the record, not to be taken into consideration. Her testimony that has direct relationship to this case is 1, the delinquent trader's license, and 2, she testified that she witnessed the closure notices being taken down. Period. That was all that Ms. Anderson's testimony is relevant to in this case at this time, and also with regard to this lady. So, I mean, I appreciate her testimony, but that's the health department. That's not the liquor board. Yes.
Was it closed down on the original inspection?
Yes, on that
And
night.
the 12th was a follow-up or scheduled?
The 12th
There's
was...
no relevance. In other words, it was...
Closed on the 6th.
It was closed on the 6th, and it was reopened.
It was closed on the 6th by the Vice squad. They could reopen if they had hot water. So we're assuming between the 6th and the 12th that they had hot water. When we did the reinspection on the 12th, they had hot water except for in one location, in the bathroom.
All right. Okay. So, I mean, you're welcome to ask her about that, but the 12th isn't relevant to why we're here. Actually, we're here for the violations on the 6th, 3, and on the 24th, which Ms. Anderson testified to. Okay?
Correct.
I think Ms. Hafey looks like she has a question.
Well, just my only comment was he did open it up, and she did open it up via her testimony as to what happened on the 12th. So I just want to put that on the record, which is why the representative from the health department came up to speak, was because they brought up they opened the door about what happened on the 12th.
But you're welcome to cross-examine her on the 12th, but that's up to you.
No, I don't have any further questions
Okay.
at this point.
That's the case in chief. Anything?
Well, did you want the video?
No, she said she doesn't want the video now.
I just have something to say.
Well, hang on a second.
No.
Okay.
Everybody keeps saying Mr. Ramos took the post up. I saw Mr. Ramos took the post.
No, everybody didn't say that, quite frankly. Just for the record's clear. Miss Anderson said she saw someone, she didn't say Mr. Ramos,
Okay.
take the closure notice down. That's what I heard.
Okay. Now, the thing is, we see one side of the community that's upset because of the opening of the bar, but we don't see the other side of the community that feels that they closed its bar down. So I can't sit outside the door making sure that nobody takes the post down. That's just humanly impossible. You know, I just don't know what else to say. And I also think that, you know, I mean, it's just very one-sided and it's very unfair because the people in the community that are upset are too scared to testify. They won't come here and give their side of the story because they saw 12 to 14 police officers and 8 cars outside our business, and they don't know. And I know that people can think, oh, that's just an excuse. It's not true. I get it. Believe me, I get it. But it's not an excuse. People get scared. Everything that's happened, the news, things that are going on, people think, oh, immigration, or they're going to take me, or they're going to blame me, or they don't know. So it's really very one-sided to hear half of a community protest something and not hear the other half of the community say that's not fair. And the worst part of it is it's not going to happen. They're never going to come because they're scared. That's it. And situations like this, I mean, both directions of our business, one in 20 minutes and the other one an hour and a half, had huge incidents happened. And there were no police officers in the neighborhood. If they targeted a neighborhood, a section, how could there not be any police officers? There was 12 to 14 police officers and 8 police cars. How could there not be, in 20 minutes, someone around the neighborhood somewhere? It just, to me, it's like, I don't understand.
At this point, specifically to address violation rule 3.12, the public welfare, I would like to play the video. The allegations are that, and this is the third violation, 3.12, about the video. The officers allege that Mr. Ramos, by taking this video, was interfering with their ability to perform their duties. We dispute that, and I believe the best evidence for that is the video.
And I do apologize to the police officers. I apologize for the language that's used in the video. Mr. Ramos is the father of 4 children, and I was appalled by the use of the language.
So I have one tablet that I don't know how you guys want to.
Give it to Mr. Neal, Commissioner Jim Neal. Watch it.
Exhibit 5, purchase a trader's license, the letter, and the photos is for.
Very good job. Very good job. 12 people making a lot of money an hour, and we make no money here in Baltimore, and now close my bar. Very good. Very nice. Very nice. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 20 people here. And everybody make money, right? You guys make money. I don't make no money. I make no money. And you guys make money. You guys pay. Get check every $50 every week or every month. We make no money. I make no money. I make no money. Baltimore is in a problem. It's a big fucking problem. And you guys come here and close my bar. You get your check. You feed your family. I cannot feed my family. I make no fucking money. Would you guys get your check every month? Only hot water is the problem. It's it. No drugs, no prostitution, no problem. Only hot water. This guy here say only hot water. This why I close my fucking bar. Would you guys get your check? You guys get your money every month. Thank you. Thank you, man. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you again. Oh, yeah, arriba Baltimore. Oh, Baltimore is wonderful, beautiful.
Here, let me see if I can stop the rotation on it.
That's all right. That's all right. Okay, so we got that. Just turn it on.
We got it.
It's always gonna be
Just
sideways.
cock it. Who
There it
lives?
is.
Congratulations, arriba Baltimore. 1, 2, 3. How many cars? You guys pay your gasoline? You guys pay your own gasoline? Thank you guys. Congratulations, Baltimore. Beautiful. 20 police here because hot water. No prostitution, no drug. Only hot water. Only fucking hot water. No problem, close my bar. But everybody on this guy make money. All these guys. Who paid the gasoline in this car? Who pay? Oh, yes, I pay. Because I pay the fucking taxes. And all you guys pay by taxes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, beautiful. Very beautiful. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh my God. It's very beautiful. Congratulations, Baltimore. Congratulations. Congratulations. I think Baltimore have a lot of money to pay all these guys, all these police. Congratulations. You do very good job, guys. Very good job. Congratulations. Congratulations.
That's the end of it.
And again, I can't express how mortified I was when I saw that. I would have handled the situation completely different. However, if you hear Mr. Ramos's voice, you don't know him, I do. It's out of desperation. He's, the whole neighborhood, the whole street where our customers are at are seeing this. They don't understand it's police for hot water. They think immigration. They think a million other things. So his voice was very desperate, and he knew we have a mortgage to pay. They close us down. There's no way for us to meet our mortgage. There's no way. So that was the desperation in the voice. So again, I have a huge respect for the police officers. I have police officers in my family. I understand, and I have an enormous amount of respect for them, and I would have handled it different. I'm not going to lie.
Yes, I may have a moment to discuss with my client.
Sure, go ahead.
Just as they're discussing it, Chairman, just for the record, I just wanted to make sure that I have it correct. And for Exhibit 4, I have the photos that were submitted.
Yes.
Exhibit 5 was a copy of the trader's license.
Yes.
And number 6 was the request for the hearing from the attorney.
Yes.
For the administrative hearing.
The administrative hearing.
Trader's license, which was delinquent on the 24th, but now is in force.
Yes, sir.
Correct. Okay. Counsel?
I have no further witnesses or testimony. I would just like to provide a little bit of a closing statement, if I
Go
may.
ahead.
We have 4 alleged violations. Right off the bat, the 4th one, February 24th, as has just been noted in the record, hasn't paid off. It's a shame it took that long to do, but they were able to pay that off. We're dealing with really the 3 issues that came up the evening that you saw the video. As we see from the 311 records, there were calls and there were issues with this venue, and they were before the board in September. Since then, there are no further calls or issues. The only thing that's alleged is that, and in these complaints, is the hot water. We heard direct testimony that they had a hot water unit that was functional. It was just too small. If the water was left to run, possibly which would happen in a 30-minute inspection, that hot water would run out. Even though they didn't need to, they took positive steps to take extra expense and get a larger hot water heater so that the water issue would no longer be a problem. The issue with the public welfare. It's alleged that Mr. Ramos was yelling and cursing, and he did, but it wasn't in response to a large police force that came into his venue. Nothing that he did, and he has the right to videotape officers in their duties. Nothing he did then was threatening to them. He did not threaten to attack any of them. The light on a cell phone, there's no way that that could have been enough to interfere with the officers completing their duties. At the point he started taking the videotape, they had already completed the inspection. He did videotape them leaving. He did not interfere with them completing the inspection that they conducted that evening. From all the witnesses, what we heard was a lot of allegations. They don't have any proof. One of the officers took a video. The only video he took of was when they were leaving the venue. If they saw anything else there, they should have documented it. They did not. Again, what we have here is we just have hot water that ran out and a man who became agitated because they chose to shut him down at Friday night. By shutting him down on Friday night, they took away his entire weekend and his most profitable part of the month. At that point, it just becomes a downward spiral. How can a restaurant owner pay the bills and the taxes on a restaurant if he can't stay open? Again, this violation is minute in relation to everything else that happens in Baltimore. They were able to pay all the fees. They're not delinquent with that anymore. We don't have any concerns. We don't have any fights. There aren't any criminal charges that happened since the last hearing in September. In September, the clients were told they needed to take care of that restaurant, clean it up, and not come in front of the board. I submit that they haven't had any problems. They haven't done anything wrong. There weren't the community complaints in September. There weren't any other violations or issues in the restaurant. The only violation that could be fathomed and brought up by the inspectors that evening is that somehow that hot water ran out, only after they inspected for everything else and there were no other issues. In taking the preponderance of the evidence and what we've seen before us here today, the only record we have is there aren't complaints. The only complaint we have is the hot water and the issues with the police that I believe are refuted by the video. What we have here is a small family-owned business that just wants to operate in Baltimore. They had issues in the past and they paid the fines and fees and all the licensing. They've done whatever they can to comply with it. Now they're just dealing with ongoing issues with the health department. I submit that this family wants to make this restaurant a safe venue, and it has been a safe venue the last 6 months. There haven't been any other issues. We'd request that the board allow them to retain their liquor license, allow them to work with the health department to reopen for customers so they can keep this business going. Thank you.
Thank you, Counsel.
Thank you.
With regard to the violation of the 4.16 illegal conduct, Counsel, I'd like to direct your attention to the Maryland Annotated Code, which provides that state business licenses, doing business without a license is a misdemeanor, subject to a fine of not to exceed $300 and imprisonment not to exceed 30 days. So, with regard to violation 4.16, there was illegal conduct. So, that one stays. So now we have the three that that occurred on the 6th of February. And at this point, I'm open to comments from the other commissioners.
Well,
I disagree with counsel. I do think that, you know, the police officers were there doing their job and on a Friday night, and the last thing that they should be exposed to or have to deal with is someone who is not cooperative and someone who is, as we saw in the video, harassing them. So I mean, I as far as 3.02 cooperation and what was testified to by Inspector Chrisomales, it sounds like Mr. Ramos was not cooperative. So I think that one should stay.
Well, you know that 3.09B is a violation. We know that for a fact. Cooperation, it's amazing that, you know, somebody's going outside of his establishment doing what he did on the video. It's just amazing to me. There's no excuse for that conduct. I don't care if he's under a lot of pressure or not. It could have affected the neighborhood very, very, very seriously. You know, we don't need another riot in this neighborhood. We do not. I don't care if it's a Spanish riot or a Latino riot or a black riot or a white riot. We don't need one. You know, the city's been through enough. The public welfare, that's, boy. I know you're under a lot of pressure and finances, but this is a series of very serious offenses, and you're going to be here after April 1 again to us. As I understand, you're going to be there again. You have health violations.
No, health department, they have administrative hearing with the health department, not with us,
Yeah, but we can write a violation on it.
depending on what they do, right?
Still, you know, and that you opened again, continuously opened.
But
You
we
know,
didn't.
that you,
We didn't open.
according to the testimony, did you get the
On the
testimony
6th,
that there were
the
people?
first one, on the 6th when they came, that they told us that all we had to do was fix the water heater. That's when we reopened. After they came back and the health department came and closed us, we have not been open since. The 12th was the second time that they were there. The first time was when all the police officers were
What
there.
did you do to fix the water heater?
We replaced a brand new
At-
water heater, and I
on
have the
6th?
receipt at home. Well, not on the 6th. We replaced it, I think, that weekend. We replaced it. I think this happened early Saturday morning. Yeah, we went to Home Depot on Saturday and bought the water heater.
Okay.
Madam Secretary, were they open after the 6th? Do you know of this?
Those are not part of, I mean, really the charges are in regards to the 6th, yeah. So that's not really part of the record for this.
Okay.
I find them all valid charges.
All four?
I agree, all four are valid charges.
It's 2 out of 3. So now we go to prior violations. My notes say 23 311 calls and prior violations within the last 3 years, which is what this board has established.
Yes,
as,
sir.
ahead.
September 19th, 2013, there was a violation of sale to minors. On September 24th, 2015, there's a violation of rules at the time 305, 306, 307, and 308 all merged into one single charge. And if you want me to go back, I can tell you exactly what those violations
That's
are.
when, that was September the 12th or something?
That is correct. That's 24th when they were in front of you.
The fine, and they didn't pay until February when I sent Inspector Christomales out to get the license.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We were at that time, I thought, very lenient and accommodating.
Let me go first.
Is there any testimony? I know that Ms. Anderson had started earlier to testify as to some of the issues with the establishment. Is there any additional testimony?
Well, as I noted, the correspondence log that was received were a series of letters that were objected to, but those were entered in by the community. There were a series of letters and emails,
Well, because the people weren't here for him to cross-examine them.
but they were part of the file
The
collective
community,
exhibit.
right?
Yes.
Well, we have Kristen Anderson here.
Special appeals case.
I believe we've allowed the community to testify after we've made a violation, a finding of a violation.
Let her testify. That's okay.
So, as I've said before, this has been an ongoing, long-term problem. And in terms of specifically what happened this time, it's a whole kind of list of everything. And no, I was not there to witness the health code violations within the establishment itself, but I've seen the inside of it. I've seen what happens outside of it. I've seen what figuratively bleeds out from it. And I wanted to address a few things that you said. You keep referring to that's not your community. Mr. Ramos also referred to that in his testimony on September 24th as well. Well, what community is it? We are all part of the same community. It does not matter what ethnicity you are, what color you are, whether you're male, female, gay, straight, or bi. It does not matter. What matters is that you are a respectful and good neighbor. And thus far, I and the many other people who have written letters have not seen that. I'd also like to address the accusations of, whatever you were talking about with like Fells Point and Canton, it being the same people. I don't know what you're talking about. My issue is strictly with the blight that has been created and the problems that come from that. I have taken pictures myself. I have witnessed it firsthand. You also said that you guys don't own that lot in the rear lot, in the rear of the bar. I beg to differ because I've seen the property records. So where do you guys store your trash?
Don't answer this question. Right now, it's for her to testify about.
I'm asking her
issues and then
because she said that she did not own the lot. So my question goes straight to that.
The case in chief is finished. I mean,
Okay.
you're welcome to.
Okay,
give
I take issue with items like this. This was roughly 3 weeks ago that I took these photographs.
I'm going to object to this.
They are bar trash. So unless somebody is coming and throwing out,
Hang on with your testimony, please.
unless somebody is coming out,
Hang on a second, please.
I also have them in color as well if you'd like copies.
If I may object,
She wrote 3
don't say anything about it.
Objection sustained.
Thank you.
Next comment.
I'm trying to formulate this so that I can
Okay, I'm sorry.
get it out with,
Apologize.
I am deeply concerned with the fact that this whole time it has been a us versus them kind of thing. And by that I mean it's us, meaning the bar versus the community. We wanted to reach out and we wanted to work with you guys. It's not my job to pursue that, however. That is your job as a business owner. And it is deeply concerning to me that this has been going on for so long. It's not just this single instance. And it's a real problem. It has created blight in our neighborhood. It looks terrible. I ask people when they come over to my house what they think of the neighborhood, and they drive by and they're like, oh, what's that yellow
Objection.
place with people yelling outside? Okay, well, I had more photographs, but if I can't submit them, I guess it kind of makes it useless.
Can I ask a question? Since September, has there been any change in the operation of this unit, in your opinion?
I don't believe so.
It hasn't gotten cleaner on the outside? And it hasn't-
The only thing that recently has gotten cleaner was shortly before they did the press conference. They cleaned up some of the rear of it. The rest of it, in terms of the violations that were issued by code enforcement, as to the front and the facade, have not been cleaned up. I have not stepped foot in there for as long as I can remember. I've briefly looked in a couple of times and walked in once, and that was it. And it has been a very long time since I've done that. But I do not believe that it has gotten better.
Thank you.
And the neighborhood angst against this establishment still is at the same level as it was on September?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Trotter, we'll start with you.
Very nice. That's what we get paid for, right?
Well, you get paid big money for this.
Pardon, before we proceed.
have anything
Can we,
else to
can we
say?
have a response to?
Sure, absolutely.
I'd like to say,
You
stop.
say
Oh,
it
I'm sorry.
so
Yes,
You can
yes.
say it to her, but
Okay.
say it so that the microphone picks it up because
Okay.
it's being taped.
I'm sorry. I have
That's
a
okay.
briefcase here.
No,
and it
that's
was-
okay.
Stop referring to just you as the community. This is my community too. No.
It is
no,
our
no, no.
community.
Exactly. But when you say the people come to my house and they make comments, guess what? The people come to my business and comment on the way people in the neighborhood treat them. This is the difference. This is the problem, okay? I'm here acknowledging my part. I'm here acknowledging my part, and you refuse to acknowledge your part. Do you understand? For you to say that there has been no improvement, you're telling me, we have those pictures from September. You're telling me, excuse me, you're telling me that that lot looks like that because there are records in the city from when they came that we had to remove all that garbage, that we put cement on the floor, that the grass. You're saying, now, the pictures that you
without talking about her
took,
part, just tell.
I took those
tell her
photos,
about
and
the-
I also took
She's got
photos
to
on
do
Monday.
About the lot, I'm going to ask her who owns it.
Yeah, so let's,
That's what we're going to get into, so you better be careful about what she testifies to.
okay.
let's just talk about the improvements that you did inside the restaurant
right.
if you want to.
The improvements inside the restaurant, the pictures are there. The pictures are there. The improvements are there.
Okay.
Can I add one thing to clarify?
Yes,
Um,
ma'am.
So when I referred to coming to my house, I was not referring to that as a representative of the community. I was referring to that as an individual who owns a home in the neighborhood who has to drive by and see this every single day. So when I have company over who ask me about it and I explain to them, you know, what it is, it's almost embarrassing.
I know, and I feel.
Just wait, hang on.
This
hang
could
on,
go
hang
on
hang on.
forever,
Hang on.
okay? We're done. We're done with testimony. Mr. Trotter, you decide, and we'll go to Elizabeth, and then we'll come to me if we're necessary. I hear everybody. But we can go back and forth all night.
I would recommend a fine, but I would really recommend it being coming very close to revoking the license. Very close. I said that before when you were here. I can't make a judgment on community relationships that you made, that your people are a set of people are set aside in the community. That's not our job. Our job is to run a liquor establishment according to the law. And according to what I've heard today, you have not done that. Okay? I would really recommend you selling the establishment, okay? But I can't make that as a recommendation of the board, okay? But I think you should be closed down for 60 days.
That will force us into foreclosure.
Well, that's,
And if I-
it
if
gives you the right to sell the establishment, okay? I'm not gonna revoke your license. I want you, it's been a blight, as all the testimony is, has been a blight on the community, and I would fine you $1,000. Should I say that? Probably, I would recommend,
That's $250 on each one.
no.
No.
I would say 500 on each one, $2,000 fine, and closed down for 60 days.
Elizabeth?
I agree that my issue is that you were here in September, and at that time, I thought we merged 4 offenses into one charge and handed a fine of $750. And at that time, we advised you that this is it. I mean, we're not going to we're not going to continue to be lenient on you and the establishment. I understand what you're saying, what you have been saying, and like Commissioner Trotter mentioned, that's not our role to judge the community relations, but I do understand what it is you and the other and Chrissy, Miss Anderson's concerns and points on both sides. But this is your establishment. You had the responsibility to take ownership of it. You had the responsibility to ensure that it was operating properly. You had the responsibility to ensure that the trader's license was up to date. All those things, that falls on you, not the patrons in your establishment. That falls on you. It falls on you to ensure that there's hot water, which is it violates the health department codes. That is your responsibility solely, and I don't think we can be accommodating this time. I watching the video was very concerning to me because you had several officers there who were taking time there on duty, and and I understand what you're saying about Mr. Ramos' desperation and being frustrated. I understand that, but they were doing their job, and to be harassed like that just by doing their job is a concern to me. So I agree with the 60 days suspension of the license, and I'm still trying to think about an appropriate fine, but
May I please ask you to consider a hardship? I mean, at this point, we haven't had any income coming in.
Well, let me hold it. Hold it. No.
Turn that
Something came on.
Some came on. Yeah.
Something came on.
It's a voice. It was a
Voice out of the
above,
past.
God came to you.
Hold it. Hold it.
It's a female voice.
It's my wife.
Yeah.
Now it's not.
You just turned. You're in trouble.
I'm in trouble.
Doug.
I'm in real trouble.
Sleep with the dog.
and take that call.
No, I'm not going to take over. No, that's fine.
While Ms. Chafee decides, okay, let me just say this. For the record, in the event that you decide to take an appeal, for the record, charge of 3.09B was based on the testimony of the police department and the representative from the health department with regard to no hot water. With regard to violation of 3.02 cooperation, the testimony from Inspector Christomalis, from Detective Gatto, was clear that there was yelling and cursing and carrying on, as was evidenced by the tape. But the testimony alone was sufficient. Violation of 3.12, public welfare. If we talk about disturbance of the peace, which is not this, but is akin to this, on the criminal side is when you create such an atmosphere that it draws people's attention. I think that in similarity, you have a public welfare violation. With regard to 416 illegal conduct, we have in the record that the trader's license was delinquent. In the event that you decide to file an appeal, the filing of the appeal will not be stayed unless you file a motion to stay with the circuit court. Okay, just for the record. Now, we're back to Commissioner Hafey for her decision on the fine.
I agree with Commissioner Trotter that if you're unable to care for this establishment and to ensure that it meets,
Got it.
that you are able to follow the laws, and that's a decision you will have to make as to what to do with it next. But again, I can't emphasize enough that this is your responsibility. And I understand your argument as to hardship, but we were here last time, we were lenient last time, and we're here again, not, 6 months later, less than 6 months later. And so as far as the first one, the 3.09B, this is the third violation within 3 years. I'm 600 for that one. Cooperation, 3.02 cooperation, 500 is fine. Public welfare, 500, and 4.16, 600. So that's 2,200. And close for 60 days, 2 months.
Just for the record, Madam Secretary, I'm going to concur with Commissioner Trotter and reduce each one of the 3.09 by $100 and the 4.16 by $100. I respect your opinion, but $500 for each one, 60 days, okay, plus the hearing notice, plus it's not stayed. If he files an appeal, he has to file a motion to lift stay, okay?
So that's a total of 2125 and 6 month and 60-day closure, effective immediately.
Yeah.
May we request time to pay the fine?
You have 30
You
days.
have 30 days,
Could we get the 60 days along with the suspension?
60 days,
Thank you.
60 days to pay.
So that'll be May 10th, 2016.
Yes, ma'am. Now, counsel, 60 days. Okay? All right.
And so the suspension would be from today on, so you'll have 60 days suspension
Right.
until May 10th as well.
Okay.
And that'll take you into the new license renewal year.
That's correct. That is correct.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your time. This concludes our matters. May we be excused.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Have a good afternoon.
Job well done. Mr. What?
Miguel Palmero, and I can provide cards, and you guys always need extra pens, right?
Bribes.
That's
Were
that's
you
your gift
related
for
to the
bearing with
baseball
me.
player?
No, I wish. I know I look like a baseball player, right? No, I was just born and raised in Maryland, and then lucky to have
Where do you
baseball
spend most
players.
of your time, Fayette Street or Park Lawn?
I was in Park Lawn, and now we're doing more. I'm an adjunct professor with Maryland now in their mock trial team, and I'm trying to set up. More people want to get court experience, so I'm trying to see. We have an intern from College Park here in the back, and
Hi.
Patrick Negan, who just took the Maryland bar exam.
Oh, congratulations.
We're just trying to get
Court.
Yeah, I'm trying to get more
This-
attorneys in 3Ls.
This is not
I
court.
can give you some clients because in my neighborhood, we have a lot of people who don't speak Spanish.
That'd be great. I speak Spanish, Portuguese, and French fluently. But we
I can send it to you.
yeah, we're just trying to help the students get some experience.
I better call my wife back.
You better call
But thank
your
you. I
wife
very
back
I respect
real
all your guys' decisions. It's very well thought out, very well done. Thank you very much.
That was a tough case.
Yeah, that's good job. Thank you very much.
Okay, they make it sell. They can sell.
Yeah, I know, but